Here it is. We talked about. Well, here's Ottawa 2. Edmonton, Ottawa 2.
For a pregame ceremony, and check out the military vehicles on display on the plaza and in the.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons.
Entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Gregor and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday. Join
The puck took on Sunday in Detroit, elected to shoot off the rush, and now another turnover. Draisaitl again to the net. Whatever has the first of his National Hockey League career.
You can attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Fernando Pisani, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, Gene Principe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more.
Didn't get a shot on that off the drop.
Every hockey fan's dream.
Walman.
Book now and
Blisters home the winner.
it's $23.99
Winner.
with the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer. Visit
The winner.
/Edmonton. Call 1-833-347-7678. Call now to book and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours 1-833-347-7678.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
Wendy's most important deal of the day has a fresh lineup. Pick any 2 breakfast items for $4. New 4-piece French toast sticks, bacon or sausage wrap, biscuit or English muffin sandwiches, small hot coffee, and more. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
The Jason Gregor Show.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. It's his defender.
On Sports 1440.
The puck took on Sunday in Detroit, elected to shoot off the rush, and now another turnover. Draisaitl again to the net. What? Absolutely buried by Isaac Howard. And that's the first of his National Hockey League career.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Didn't get a shot on that off the drop. Walman scores! Jake Walman, his season debut, blisters home the winner.
What a wonderful Wednesday. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We always appreciate it. And it's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Ooh, we're having a good week. 2 for 2 on our picks, right? We went, hey, of course we had to go game 7 of the Jays on Monday. And last night we did the parlay, Oilers and Washington by 2. There it happened. So have some fun. PlayAlberta.ca, casino, sports, live dealer, lottery, instance, and more. Online or on the app. It's even easier to use on the app. Play Alberta. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday, Oiler fans. Probably breathing a little bit easier. Got a little bit extra angst in the third period for sure, as the Oilers had a 2-0 lead and saw it vanish in a minute and a half. That was not ideal, but on a positive note, they had 3 new goal scorers for the season. Connor McDavid gets his first of the year. Isaac Howard gets the first of his career. And Jake Walman, in his first game of the season, scores his first goal. So that's a good sign for the Edmonton Oilers. Get a few more guys scoring, because that's what they're going to need. And hey, most importantly, they got to win. So now they have 10 players with a goal through 7 games, which still, it's not ideal. You'd like a few more guys to contribute on the goal scoring department. A lot of their D-men haven't scored yet. So basically, that was the first goal by a defenseman this season. The Oilers last year were a pretty good goal scoring team from the blue line. So Walman, in his first game, gets their first goal from the blue line. So that's a little surprising that it's taken that long to get a goal from the blue line. Meanwhile, defensively, they were solid. Now, they did score 3 goals. It was nice, but still, they only generated, not very much. Like, they had 12 shots for the first, 38, 39 minutes. Wasn't ideal. Their offense still is a little pedestrian at times. Good news is their team defense has been solid. And when you're not scoring goals, at least if you're not giving up goals, that's going to help, right? And the Oilers, that's a good situation to be in defensively where they're at right now. 2-point. They've got when your goals for is lower than your goals against on average, that's not good. So the Oilers, their offense needs to get going. It's great that they did score 3 goals last night, but they're still 26th in goals per game. Tied with the LA Kings and only the Sabres, Predators, Panthers, Rangers, and the Flames, who have scored a full 1 goal per game less. The Flames have a paltry 11 goals in 7 games. And they're taking on Montreal tonight. You might want to watch it because the Canadiens de Montréal are in Edmonton. Tomorrow, it's always a hot ticket. Sold out. And you know what? We got a pair of seats we're going to auction off very quickly today. We'll have a rapid fire one. If you want to go, you probably can get a decent deal on them. So if you want to go, lower bowl, Oilers attack twice, where you can try to drown out Habs fans. Or maybe you're a Habs fan, you really want to go to the game. Either one, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Thanks to Dave, who donated those and want them auction off for charity. So that's what we're going to do. I love it. So 833-401-1440. If you want to go to the Oiler game tomorrow against the Montreal Canadiens, maybe you take a Habs fan, you have some fun, go with some Oiler fans, drown out the Habs fans, either one. Doesn't matter, 833-401-1440. Text flying in, 833-401-1440. You can get on the text line right away. Also, in the NHL last night, man, it's the more you watch him, this young Schaefer kid, oh my goodness. Like, this guy looks legit. Oh, can he? Now, Oilers fans, you saw him in the game. He doesn't always stand out except for his skating. Like, he is such a smooth skater. He's got 7 points in 6 games. He's playing 22 minutes a night. He's got 4 points, even strength, 3 points in the power play. Got a game-winning goal. He's got 2 goals already. Like, he's off to a phenomenal start for a defenseman, no less, playing a tough position as a rookie. The only defenseman in the NHL with more points right now than Schaefer is Cale Makar, and Cale Makar has played 1 extra game. Schaefer actually has a higher points per game than him so far. So it has been an unbelievable start. I don't think anyone predicted it. I think he's tied the NHL record for longest point streak to start an NHL career. He's got points in his first 6 games. He's already set the NHL record for most points by a defenseman at the start of his career. Like, this guy is legit. And when you watch him, and I don't know if you probably didn't see it, but his post-game in-arena interview, he's on the bench, they're interviewing him. Like, he's so full of energy and he's positive and excited. He's telling the fans he loves them. Come on, let's go. And he's a hype man for the Islander fans, for goodness sakes. Like, talk about winning the lottery. Right? And it can be a game changer for an organization. Oilers fans know it. Penguin fans know it. Chicago Blackhawk fans know it. It can be huge for an organization. And the New York Islanders, like, they got a ways to go, but building around him on their back end, that is going to speed up the Islanders becoming a quality team down the road. They just don't screw it up. Just make other good plays. They brought in Darsh. I think ownership realizes we've got to have a plan. And in Darsh's, you know what? That was obviously a great pick. That wasn't that hard of a pick. It's like, hey, Chiarelli took McDavid. What a genius. Wrong. Anybody would have taken McDavid, right? And Schaefer was the clear consensus number 1 pick. I don't know if people thought he'd be this good right away, but God, because it is hard for a defenseman, 18, to do what he's doing. Like, wow. I love stories like that because it is very, very impressive early on to see what he is doing in the National Hockey League. The Edmonton Oilers, speaking of getting their first goals, Ike Howard buries it last night. Obviously very excited. Good for him. It's probably a big relief. And now we'll see where he goes. With Kapanen out for 6 weeks, it allows guys who maybe were on the bubble, and we talked about this yesterday, the Oilers have 5 more games minimum until Zach Hyman returns. That's the earliest he can return is in November. That's the earliest. So you got 5 more games because they're going to have to make some decisions then. Now, I assume one of them is probably going to be a defenseman. I don't think they're going to carry 8D, right? You have an 8 defenseman. When everybody's healthy, that 8 defenseman, it's really hard to get him in the lineup. You might look and say, okay, we'll rotate our number 6 defenseman. But are you going to take Kulak out of the lineup? You're going to take Nurse out of the lineup? You're going to take Bouchard, Ekholm, Walman? No, you're not. So how does it not, are you just going to do a 1-game rotation for 3 guys? That's unlikely. So, once Regula's healthy, they'll probably have to make a decision there as well. But until then, they'll move forward. The Oilers needed a win. It hasn't been a great start. It's not an awful start either. It hasn't been a great start. It's like a middling start. They got 7 points. That puts them right in the middle of the pack, tied for 15th in the NHL. So not great, not terrible, and away they go. Now they got Montreal, Seattle, Vancouver. If you can win 2 out of those 3, the Oilers at least win 5 of their first 10 games. Again, it's not going to be a great start. It's just not going to be an awful start. It's not going to be like it was a few years ago when they only won 2. Last year they did manage after an 0-3 start to then win 4 of their next 7, right? They went 4-2-1, and that kind of got them on the right path for a little bit. So we'll see. There's still room to improve. There wasn't a ton of danger offensively by Edmonton last night. As we've said, to me, their defensive play has been the best part and the most consistent part of their game. So that's a good thing. I still believe at some point McDavid's got more to give. Draisaitl's got more to give. A few other guys have more to give. They don't have Zach Hyman. When he comes back, that's going to help. All those things. So we'll see where it goes. Hey, guys, I think Costin would be as effective player as Frederick, but with way more bite. There's a reason Maroon can't even cast in for bit, and Costin were beloved by fans, and Costin liked it here. Frederick's losing the love of Oilers fans faster than a tough guy in Edmonton. Yeah, well, Costin's not nearly as... Costin was beloved as a fourth-line guy in a short-term window because he fought and he hit in the playoffs, but he was dreadful defensively. We got to call a spade here. I don't... Clean Costin would bring you energy 100%. But if no other team signed him, there's a reason why. And, Costin his play away from the puck was troubling. And that's why he's not in the NHL at this point. And I don't know if he'll ever get another shot. Guys do. He's a young player, right? If he goes and shows that because I agree with you, skates well, shoots the puck really well, tough as nails, all those things. And in a blue-collar town, I get why people liked him. I would like to see a little bit more spunk from Trent Frederick, no question. Get into a scrum, intimidate someone. 90% of the league he can intimidate easily. Glove in the face, push guys around, bully someone. I totally think that's a fair ask to do. But it's 7 games in. To write off Trent Frederick after 7 games, is a little bit ridiculous. So, and Cassian was loved for a while, wasn't always loved, but ultimately, you know what? If you produce and you play a role, then you'll be beloved, no question about it. Hey guys, even in that game against the Islanders, that kid was all over McDavid. What a killer pull for the Islanders from Greater Man Jay. Yeah, it's he's been really good. Better than I expected, man. Because I would never expect, because you know me, I try to have lower expectations. So then you can be like, wow, this guy's playing great. Rather than come in I'm sorry, I call it ridiculous when people, generational player, this or that. You're just setting the player up for failure. So then you can critique him. It was like, Schaefer, hey, let's see what he does. He's 18, played 17 major junior games last year due to injury. Let's have a low bar, or more importantly, a realistic bar. But right now, he's crashed right through it. Now we'll see how the whole season goes along. But just the way he skates and things and sees the ice, there's nothing about it that tells me, this is just a flash in the pan. He's doing a lot of things, man. A lot of things. So. Hey, Gregor, tell me one thing Frederick does right. Well, he scored in his breakaways, 1 for 1 on breakaways. So you asked me to tell you one thing, Nogi, I'll tell you that's the one thing. Hey, Frederick can play better. Sure. But I'm not a big believer of people. Like, it's like some Oiler fans feel, I need a whipping boy. I need a whipping boy. Why? Do you feel better acting like, is Trent Frederick the reason the Oilers are 26th in offense? No, he's not. Trent Frederick hasn't done anything great, but he hasn't done anything horrible. I don't see Trent Frederick turning the puck over. I don't see Trent Frederick being, oh my God, he's missing on all these chances. Like, why is Trent Frederick suddenly the guy that people want to be mad at? No, I don't like his contract. Get over it. Who cares about his contract? Doesn't mean that much for 7 games. Okay? It's a long contract. Most of you hated it, so now you're just like, well, it doesn't matter what he does. I'm going to hate it. It's the worst type of analysis. Stop it. Stop it. Like, Trent Frederick, he's been okay. Hasn't been great. Hey, scored a game winner. Scored one really good goal in 7 games. Great. Hasn't hurt their team. I haven't seen him make a lot of plays bad defensively. So, yeah, I'd like a little bit more bite from him. That's fair. It doesn't mean you have to suddenly be like, oh, he does nothing. Like, hyperbolic analysis is the worst analysis. Don't do it. So, he's got to play better. I'd agree. I'd like them to play better. It's okay to say that without having to go across the board. Oh, he's terrible. He's never. Those are the worst takes. So, how about we don't do that? All right. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Philippe is in at 400 for the Oilers Habs game tomorrow night. Oilers attack twice in the lower bowl. Really good seats, by the way, like excellent seats. So, if you want to go, there you go. We're going to give you another 45 minutes. So this will be a power hour one. And that's it for today. So there you go. Hey, guys, this takes Sorokin out of the picture for the Oilers trade. Randall, I don't think he was ever in the picture. He was in some online Oiler fans picture thinking that the New York Islanders were going to trade Sorokin. Why the hell would they trade him? He's got a really good contract. He's got 6 more years, and he's a good goalie. Why would you trade him? So you can get a few draft picks and then spend the next decade trying to find a goalie? No. You keep with your picks and you try to build your team and move around them. Right? You know what? Bad team. Well, and maybe they were going down the path, but I don't think Darsh, who comes from an organization that had a really good goalie, he's going to give up the goalie. Everybody's looking for goalies. So I don't see why it's a big issue. So. Greg's, I agree with you. Frederick hasn't been terrible. I just thought he'd play with a little bit more bite. It's totally fair. That's a fair analysis. I would agree. It hasn't been there so far. Now, the Oilers as a team haven't played with much bite at all, which is why at times I'd like to say, hey, man, you got to look around the room. You got to read the room, read the game, and be like, you know what? Let's try to get a little bit of animosity out here. I don't even care if he fights. You don't just have to fight. Chirp someone. Get someone a stick. Get in a scrum. Give him a little, face wash, stinky glove. There are ways, and the funny thing is, there are ways to look engaged that are really kind of fake in a way, but you get noticed. And half the time, that's good enough. Oh, look at that. Oh, he's involved. Well, because he gave a guy a few face washes. Right? Clem Costin wanted to fight Lemieux in a 6-1 game, right? People loved it. It was irrelevant to the game, but it was entertaining. Right? It was entertaining. And so that's important at times. So yeah, I think you gotta understand the situation. And yeah, you might be the only one. Who cares? Most of these other teams don't have a lot of tough guys. Like now, Montreal's got Jakai. He's physical, but they don't really have anybody else. Maybe Anderson, okay, but no one else. It's not like you have Nurse and you have Frederick. It's not like you're going to get into games and be like, oh my God, like this other team, they got way more toughness than us. They can run us out of the rink. Not really. Not in today's NHL. There's just not that many teams that even have 3 or 4 guys who do that. Now, some teams will have a few other, you got some smaller guys that can really hammer you. Those guys are important. Don't get me wrong. I tell you right now, Kiefer Sherwood is off to a good goal scoring start. But for a forward who's that physical and that engaged and is reliable defensively and can chip in offensively, his value becomes a lot higher because there's not a lot of players who do it. That's my one concern when I look at the Oilers. Just because Trent Frederick's going to be physical, awesome. But they got a lot of other guys who aren't. And that's a concern for me. It really is. Like, I don't think come playoff time, you can have a roster that has as many non-physical forwards as the Oilers have right now. Now, Hyman comes in, so somebody comes out. Even Janmark plays tough. Janmark's strong. Right? Doesn't score a lot. Reliable defensively, but at least he's hard to play against in the playoffs. So even he, in a down-the-lineup role, would be better. And so I look at some guys, like, you got 5 games here to get noticed. If I'm Noah Phil, yeah, it's great that he scored 2 goals. Outstanding. Now, hit it, run a guy, right? Just get in a scrum, just engage someone. It'll go a long way to get, because they got a lot of guys who will never do it. Roslovich isn't going to do it, right? Now, Nuge, surprise you, he'll fight. If he feels like his team, and we've seen it, he'll fight every now and then, and he's not going anywhere. But he's not overly physical. And that's okay. You can have some guys. Savoy's not overly physical. Howard's not overly physical. Like, Mangiapane's, small, not overly physical. So in the playoffs to win, you need a sense, for me anyway, of a little bit more nastiness. Now, it doesn't have to happen every night in October. I totally understand it. But I also look and say, do we have guys who are capable of doing it come playoff time? I don't think you can naturally just change your stripes. Now, you'll become more physical, for sure. Right? Like, even Evan Bouchard. I look at Evan Bouchard in the playoffs. He looks guys in the eye every time. Doesn't back down. He's punching guys. And also, he's playing great. That's probably the biggest thing I notice. So, but I look at the orders. Could they use that? Yeah, I said at the start of the season. A scoring winger and a guy with a little bit more bite. Those would be the 2 things I'd be looking for if I was Stan Bowman. Now, you might have some other things you want to look for, sure. But those would be the 2 main things, because I just don't see that a ton of it in their line. Right? I'd like to see Nurse intimidate guys a little bit more. 6'4", 220. He's tough. We've seen him. He can fight a lot of guys. Just get in there. But just this team, and I get it. They played a lot of hockey, so maybe they're not, but every now and then they're just like a game with a little bit of nasty. That's just me. I will come back, a guy who knows a little bit about it, played with it. And hey, he showed you, guess what? You can change your stripes a bit in the playoffs. Suddenly you can become a goal scorer, a playmaker in big games. Our next guest has done it in the playoffs, in the Stanley Cup Finals, in a Game 7. They'll join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Oodle noodle origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sani dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned, with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie, and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com or call today.
Attention! It's Edmonton Oil Kings Military Appreciation Night at Rogers Place.
Sunday, it's the Battle of Alberta WHL style as Edmonton faces the Calgary Hitmen.
Get there early for a pre-game ceremony and check out the military vehicles on display on the plaza and in the concourse.
And at every home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king-sized.
Oil Kings Hitmen Military Appreciation Night, Sunday at 4.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440. After every game this season, tune in to Andrew Walker for the post-game show. Let's talk some hockey. Let's talk about the game on Sports 1440.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
Why pay dealership prices when you can get the same quality for less? Hi, it's Lisa, and here at Ed's Auto Salvage, we've been Alberta's trusted source for used auto parts for nearly 50 years. From engines to mirrors, transmissions to tires, we've got it all at prices guaranteed to keep your wallet happy. Shop local, shop smart. Shop Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock. Be sure to visit us online at edsautosalvage.com and get your vehicle back on the road for less.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.224, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Hope you are having a lovely day. Pretty nice out there for October. Hopefully it sticks around for another, 9 days. Next Friday, a Halloween Friday for the kids and maybe the parents involved. Should be good. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your team to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. Stanley Cup winner, longtime NHLer, now ace analyst on the NHL Network and analyst for the Penguins and more. Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing? I'm good, Greg. How you doing, bud? Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. We're 2 weeks into the NHL season now, and it's not a huge enough sample to be strong, I think, on everything. But there are some ones that you look and say, hey, and I want to start with a player because I like to have what I like to say realistic or maybe even lower expectations, especially on young players. And if they exceed them, well, that's awesome. Rather than hyping a guy up and then he's not the player that, I falsely claimed he was and then be mad at him for that. So Matthew Schaefer through six Rupper has looked unbelievable. Like, he doesn't look like a rookie. His skating is even better than I thought it was at the NHL level. Like, he's one of the elite skaters in the game already. And he's a young 18. It's not like he's an 18-year-old, turning on January 1st. Like, he's 18 and I don't even know what is it, 50 days or something. Like, he's a young kid who looks incredibly more mature for his age. Oh, he does. It's funny because we knew that off the ice that he's mature for his age. That doesn't always translate on the ice, and it certainly has. I gotta give a ton of credit, I think, to the New York Islanders coaching staff, Patrick Waugh, and I don't know, I'm not in that room. Maybe there's someone working even closely with him on the day-to-day. But they're allowing him to do his thing. And I think so many times when you see a player, remember what the narrative was with Matthew Schaefer, all-world skater. We'll see what he's going to look like as a first overall pick, but it's going to take time. He hasn't played games. There's almost every reason to take this slow. But they look like they just let the reins off him and said, do what you do. We'll teach you that stuff later. We'll get you to make better decisions. We'll make you maybe play the scoreboard a little bit more. But right now, you're a great hockey player, great skater. Let's use that. And he does, because he gets in there. And I think when you're on the ice with him, you have to know, I got to go back up. My defenseman is a forward, but he gets in the plays in the offensive zone. He hangs in there for a long time. He's got a long wick as far as his decision-making. He hangs in there sniffing out plays because he knows he's such an exceptional skater to get back. I love what I've seen so far from him. I don't know what the expectations are because he's proven us maybe underestimating him a little bit to start this season. But, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a point-a-game guy all season long, but he's showing that he could take on this league right now, and it's very impressive. Yeah. Point-a-game guy would be ridiculous, but that would be an unbelievable story if he did. He's just off to a great start, and he looks very comfortable It's not like a guy who, you see some forwards who, they bury a few goals and you look at the stat line and, oh, geez, I'm not sure. Just the way he plays the game, the way he moves, I think it's been really impressive. Bobby Bugner probably has a bit to say, the defense coach there in Long Island as well. So that's been a good start for them. No question about it. The Detroit Red Wings, Rupper, are you buying what the Red Wings are selling early on this season?
I feel so stupid saying this, but after game 1, the way they looked, I'm like, God, this is it. This is it. I'm usually one that's pretty. I got a lot of patience with that usually, but I think just because I've been so frustrated with this team the last number of years, feeling like they need to turn the corner and just falling short all the time, and seemingly kind of going into the doldrums of a season and not getting points. That could still happen, but I love the way they reacted after game 1. And we talked about it on here. You had McClellan calling them out. They responded in a big way. I was actually doing some clips, putting some clips together on Dylan Larkin because I think he's 6th in the NHL or whatever in scoring right now, 11 points. I think he's like 6 and 5. He has been really good in all areas. His defensive play, his hockey IQ, the things he's doing right now to start a season. I think he's the pace setter. And we would expect that because he's got the C on his jersey. But we saw him take a step in Four Nations. He's one of the guys I think that we really talked about coming out of Four Nation. And then it was kind of a little bit quiet when he got back to Detroit after that tournament. But he started off on fire so far this year. I think that this team is really dangerous. I mean, their PK's cooking for him right now. They've got a lot of talent, young guys stepping up. And the fact they've run off 5 in a row, it's been very impressive.
At the start of the season, I had the Metro as I thought overall top to bottom, the weakest division, because I wasn't sure if I saw any team that was a legit, Carolina, I'll give, but even then, I don't know if I'd put Carolina in my top 6 teams come playoff time, because I've seen the same thing time and time again from them. Early on this year, that they got a lot of teams with 10 points. That they're off to a decent start as a group. The Hurricanes are 5-1. They finally lost. Devils are 5-1. They've got some injuries, but they've looked pretty good. The Caps are 5-2. The Penguins are 5-2. Now, if Jenny Malkin, dude, Rupper, it's like he says, "Hey, I'm a pending free agent. Everybody pay attention to me," because, man, he has turned back the clock. I know it's only 7 games, but he has looked really good and is the main reason why the Penguins have suddenly won 3 in a row and are 5-2.
When he is healthy, he could still get going out there, and he can make things happen. He's got a great offensive mind. He competes hard, but all of that revolves around him being healthy. And we've seen good starts from him. I think he had, through the first 5 games last year, 8 points. The year before, I think the first 5 games he had like 11 points. So we've seen him start hot. The problem is, I think Gino's had some injuries and he's gotten dinged up, and then things start kind of plateauing for him. But this is hopefully this year's different in that regard, because I think you see him healthy, he could dominate. And what a great story Justin Brazeau's been. Anthony Mantha looks good. I mean, I give those guys credit, but they're playing with Gino. Gino is a facilitator. He can take a lot of the focus off of that line or the other players on that line. So he's been a pleasant surprise. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have. Like they are playing a good brand of hockey right now. They've got some young players that are being impactful. So they're a fun team to watch. I will say this, though, and you just said it. It is early. It's a long season. It's hard to do that for 82, but I think you got to be tickled pink if you're Dan Muse and the Pittsburgh Penguins, because they've been playing good.
Yeah, like the Devils, Hurricanes, and Capitals, I think people probably have a little bit more faith in long term. What about the Tampa Bay Lightning, Rupper? 1 win in 6 games. And, they've allowed 21 goals in that span. Now they got Kucherov and they got Point and they got Vasilevsky. And so on paper, you're like, okay, I think they'll come around. But when 1 win in 6 games is never ideal at any point of the season. But, for Tampa Bay, anything you see that causes you concern on that team?
They're not defending their structure. And that can mean 100 different things. I just think that last year, when you look at that team, we know how incredible Nikita Kucherov is. We know, I think Braden Point and Jake Ensel were both tied or 1-2 in the league for power play goals. That power play is lethal. Vasi was healthy last year. But they defended. They were top 5 defensive team in a lot of defensive metrics last season. So they put the puck in the net as a top 5 team. They kept it out of theirs as a top 5 team. That's why I thought they were very dangerous. I had them going to the Stanley Cup Finals and in kind of the prediction shows. But they don't have that this year. So we've seen John Cooper, who usually doesn't kind of blow a gasket very early in the season. He's done that already. There's been just managing games, bad decision making, turning pucks over. Those are things that they are generally pretty good at, and they haven't been so far. So, I mean, do I think, just like I said with the Penguins, it's an early go in the season here. But, I mean, when you're talking about dead last or 1 win, it starts to get a little bit concerning because are they capable of running off 8 of 10? Absolutely. But, I mean, that's a lot to ask of a team. So they need to, I don't want to say must win, but they need to turn it around here pretty quickly.
I look at, the Western Conference, and the Oilers last night, they got a win in Ottawa, but, their offense still, like they were up 2-0. I think they had 13 shots, right? Like they're still, they're not where they want to be offensively, but defensively, Rupper, as a team, they're pretty good. They don't give up a ton. Their goaltending's actually, Stuart Skinner technically has been fine. He had, and obviously the opening game against Calgary, but I think at this point you can probably say, okay, move on from that. The rest of the time, they look pretty good. So the positive for Edmonton is defensively they're good, but man, offensively they still seem to be missing a little juice.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to compare them to the New York Rangers, but that's the same kind of storyline we're talking about with the Rangers. And for me, maybe it's more prevalent with the Rangers because they did not defend last year. They have not defended well in a couple of years, but they're doing it now where I think, all right, well, eventually goals will start going in. But the Edmonton, they have defended pretty well over the last number of years. And that's a team when they need to win 1-0, they can win 1-0. So it's good that they got those defensive things in place and Stuart Skinner bouncing back from that game 1. For me, I think it's a matter of time. I mean, Connor getting on the board last night, I think was big as far as getting a goal. I think they get going, but I mean, it's always going to fall on what we talk about with this team all the time, depth scoring. Are they going to be able to have someone else do those things, find that right chemistry? That's going to be where this kind of, if it's going to change or not in the near future. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're okay. I think they're okay. I think this is a team that generally, what's the months? I mean, you would know. It's like, I feel like January and February is Edmonton's time every year. You don't want it to not be their time right now, but it's just a little bit of a rough patch, I feel like. But they're defending. And I think if you ask any coach in the National Hockey League, if we're not getting wins, but we're defending and we're doing a good job in that department, I think you can take that with a grain of salt and be okay with it.
Yeah. Well, their power plays is going to pick up. It did score 2 goals last night. The second one coming in overtime with their second unit. So that's a positive for them. I look, Draisaitl and McDavid have admitted like they're not feeling it. And, I know the team talked a lot about wanting a good start, but that doesn't discount the fact that history tells us the Stanley Cup loser rarely gets out of the gates fast. There's just something mentally, I think, probably more emotionally than mentally about it. And, they've had a lot of road games. So we'll see a game like that. At least they win. Now, it's funny. You win that game, you start the road trip with a win, you end the road trip with a win. The flight home is a lot better. Yeah. Right? They come home and now they're like, all right, we got a little bit of juice here. Let's go. Henrik just played his 1,000th game. Yay. They're home for 1 day, it's almost like an 8-gamer because they're home in Edmonton and then they go right to Seattle and Vancouver. We always hear that coming off a road trip, sometimes it's hard to play at home. Any reason why you think that's true?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think you sit there, and this would allude that the road trip went good. In what I'm about to say, it's business. You're on the road, you get going, and it's hockey around the clock, and you get in this routine on the road, and you come home, and it almost just feels like we got that behind us. And even if there's losses thrown in there, you almost like check that off the list. And I don't know, you get back to home, and it just feels like, all right, we got to get right back at it again, and it's tough. I don't know what it is. It's hard to find that energy again? Is it due because of the actual physical travel? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it is to some degree. I think it's more of a mental thing. I think it's more of a mental. You just need to have that kind of reset. And a lot of times, coming off the road when you're on a long road trip, you get off the road trip and you have a day off, maybe even 2 days off at times. You're trying to recover and get that stuff down, and it just kind of takes you out of the rhythm, and then you got to try to start it back up again. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's more of a mental thing, but it is something that it certainly exists.
When you look at Mark Stone's injury, he was off to an unreal start. Him and Jack Eichel were shredding the NHL. And you saw that play. It was it looked like he just fell, which he did. He just fell. And now he's out, multiple weeks, which who knows what that means in the NHL. That could be up to 6 to 8 weeks at this point. Do you think, how much of an impact do you think that has for Vegas? Because that line was killing beyond belief. They were killing it. Would you put Marner with Eichel, or are you better off having them on separate lines now that Stone's out?
I think you're better off having them on separate lines. That's a really deep group there. I mean, obviously Mark Stone, like you mentioned, was incredible, and just his way, he's such a smart hockey player. He's going to be missed in that lineup. I think the bigger thing for this team, bigger picture, is just that Mark Stone's healthy in the playoffs, and that's something that hasn't always been the case, but he finds ways to be effective regardless. So, he'll be missed. I'd keep those guys separate, though. I mean, the strength that they have over most and probably every team is 4 lines. Like, they have impactful guys throughout their lineup, and I don't believe that they need to stack the deck. And quite frankly, it doesn't always work. I mean, they've gotten a little bit of chemistry on the power play, but there really wasn't a ton going on with Marner and Eichel, even though Jack was getting all of his points in the first few games as well. I'd keep them separate. Give it an opportunity. Maybe it's an opportunity to get someone else going in Mark Stone's place, but they are loaded up front. So I don't think Bruce Cassidy should have any problem with trying to find the right lines.
Yeah, that is fair. They got a lot of depth, but Mark Stone has been unreal.
Yeah.
So they got depth, but none of them are going to replace his offense. So it'll be interesting to watch. What about the LA Kings, Rupper? The big red flag for you with the Kings. Kopitar's out for weeks. Yeah. I know they got the overtime win last night from Adrian Kempe, but the Kings off, like, they won 2-1 last night, and I guess maybe they're going to try to win defensively, but they something just doesn't look right for them early on this year.
No, it just feels a little different. The injuries, that they, not the injuries, my apologies. The Gavrikov leaving in free agency, I think they're feeling that more than maybe they thought they would. And they wanted this to be done by committee. And remember, that's why they got CC and who else am I thinking here on the back end? They
brought Dumoulin.
Yeah, Dumoulin. Thank you. And Dumoulin was incredible for New Jersey. He may have been their best playoff defenseman in the playoffs last year. So Dumoulin and CC come in, and I just think that Gavrikov is one of the best shutdown guys in the league. It's like you kind of let off the gas defensively, if that makes any sense. And it just makes me think like everything that they was all D first, and now you're really relying on a player like. In the contract situation for Adrian Kempe, like he's their game breaker. Like he's the guy but they don't score, they don't generate a ton. I think that puts a lot of pressure on their goaltending. I'm concerned with them how they've looked so far. I thought that they were a team that would probably be okay because they defended so well. I think I underestimated maybe the departure of a guy like Gavrikov, but I think they're feeling that, and they've had a tough start.
Rupper, always good to talk to you, buddy. We'll chat on the rundown on Friday, where we give our first Olympic roster, Canada and US. Let's see, we'll cause some good discussion. So look forward to it, buddy. Have a good one.
Yes, me as well. We'll talk soon.
You betcha. That's Mike Rupp, NHL Network, also one of my co-hosts on the rundown, DFO rundown. Rupper's on with me every Friday, so it's a lot of fun. 2:42. When we return, we'll get to the Oilers. Big win last night in Ottawa. 3 guys score their first goal of the season. McDavid, Howard, first of his career. Jake Walman in his first game. They get a win. They come home. They got the Montreal Canadiens, who are in Calgary tonight against the You think the Oilers are struggling to score offensively? They look like a juggernaut offensively. They're averaging a full goal a game more than the Calgary Flames early on. The Flames, it's been a tough slog early on, so we'll talk about that and more when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost. 1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. I can fix that. Now go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter. Whoa, who turned off all the lights?
Experience the new charcoal menu at Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu?
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right?
Available now, only at Booster Juice.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. I'm super excited to tell you today that we have fed over 250 families so far with our Feed 500 Families event. With that said, we are still short of our goal. We have decided to continue this on through to the end of October. With your help and your support, we can get this done. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Ring in the new year with a Canadian country legend. December 31st, in concert at the Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Brett Kissel. She drives me crazy. Multiple CCMA and Juno Award winner, platinum-selling recording artist, and top 10 hitmaker. Celebrate the new year in Alberta, country style. Bring your friends, your cowboy boots, and your party spirit for a night full of hits, celebration, and unforgettable memories. The countdown to 2026 starts with Brett Kissel live on stage. Get your tickets now at silenticecenter.com/events.
Carve out for a cause at the Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, presented by GS Construction. Thursday, November 6th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza from amazing local pizzerias while you help raise some dough for kids' sport. Then vote for your favorite slice to help crown the People's Choice Award winners. Tickets to join Edmonton's biggest and best adult pizza party are just $30. Head to jasongregorpizzapigout.com for more details and to buy tickets.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at sherbrooke.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.247, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Ooh, someone's going to get a good deal here. Philip has it right now at 400 bones for the Oilers Habs game tomorrow night. 2 tickets, lower bowl. Oilers attack twice. So it's a pretty good deal. So you got another 15 minutes. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. If you want to go see the Oilers and the Canadians, the only time you can see the Canadians in Edmonton this year. Well, I guess unless they meet in the Stanley Cup final. I'm not sure the Canadians are a team that can get there, but you never know. You never know. That's why we play the games. I wouldn't have them at the top of my list there for sure. Let's get to the oil report now, brought to you by Go Auto. God damn, I die hard, man. Go Auto, 28 new vehicle brands, 69 locations to choose from. And also, it's that time of the year. I know that it's still, it's frosty. It was minus again in the morning. It is warm up, but it's cold in the morning, so you know it's coming. And right now, the lowest winter tire price guaranteed. Get your tires booked today, goauto.ca. Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joins us once again. DVD, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Ooh, living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. It's good. It's nice. The Edmonton Oilers was not a dream win by any stretch, but you know what? Their defensive game, I think, outside of a 2-minute stretch, I thought was pretty solid. Didn't give up a whole bunch when they did. Skinner made some decent saves, especially on some 2-on-1s. They did get 3 goals from guys who hadn't scored a goal yet this year, which is obviously good. You want more guys feeling good about themselves. But overall, their offense still, wasn't there went long stretches where they didn't generate anything offensively.
Yeah, I think 5-on-5 particularly, they're having trouble kind of generating things. And I think they're still trying to find the proper combinations. I know there's been a lot of swapping and switching lines from Chris Knobloch here. But I think if you're an Oilers fan, you got to take some solace in the fact that they're doing well defensively, that they're not giving up a ton of goals, and that the offense is eventually going to come around. You have a lot of good offensive players on your team. You have 2 of the best offensive guys in the world on your team. They're going to come around. Not that they were playing badly. I think they got 7 and 6 points respectively, or something like that, or 8 or 6 or something like that. So they're playing, pretty well. But I think, defensively, bringing Walman in now that he's back, he's healthy, it really kind of shorts up that back end. And if you can get, the other guys to kind of start playing, Bouchard was a little better last night than he had been on the road trip before. So he's got to get him playing with confidence. You got to get Ekholm back to where he was before. I think still getting over that injury, still trying to get back up to the Matthias Ekholm that the Oilers were used to having. And so I think, there's still a little bit of experimentation going on here, trying to find some good line combinations, but they do have to generate a bit more 5-on-5. And I think it's just a matter of time before they do that and put it all together.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You would think if there's one area of their game that I think will come around, it would be their offense, right? If their defense was terrible and their goaltending was terrible, I could see people having maybe a little bit more concern. But, my one thing about the Oilers is they don't hit a lot. They're not a physical team very much. They don't have a lot of energy changers, right? So it's hard to sometimes get the momentum back to get going offensively, unless you're just going to rely on us. You know what? We're just going to outskill them and we're going to go cycle the puck all the time. And so sometimes you got to have different ways to get back in the game. And right now they don't really have that way 5-on-5 through any sort of physical play to get back in the game.
No, and that's what Trent Frederic is probably to do. He's a guy, he's a physical guy. He's a guy, he's a big guy, can skate, goes up and down the wings. You're kind of looking for him to kind of provide the physicality that maybe you lost, or that little bit of grittiness that you lost with Corey Perry. You need some of that grit. I think Podkolzin can play that role. They have a couple guys, but I think you're right. I think they have a lot of skill on that team, but they're missing that energy line. Those guys that just run around, go out, make some big hits, and kick some turnovers and think. And I think you're right in that regard. I think the Oilers need more guys to play that way, or need some guys to kind of play in your equipment, as Todd McClellan used to say. And they don't have. Right now, they have some guys that are supposed to do that, but I'm not sure they're doing it right now. And I think Trent Frederic, right guy, he's got to be one of those guys. He's got to be a guy that makes big plays, makes big hits, can turn the momentum around in that regard. And I think he's still kind of feeling his way into the season. I think you're right. I think when it comes to when things aren't going well for you offensively, you need some of those momentum guys to help turn things around for you.
Derek Van Diest joins us. What have you made of Ike Howard, who got his first goal of the season last night?
I think he's getting more comfortable. At first, when I first saw him, I thought, okay, they'll play him up here for a little while, but he probably needs some seasoning. But I thought last night was his best game. Like he's a bit more comfortable, and I think it's just an adjustment to the speed and the size and how quickly you have to make plays. He's got a good shot, and you can see that he's got good offensive instincts. He can skate. So I think it's just a matter of kind of finding your way. And I think the owners have done a good job with him so far, not putting him in situations where he's going to fail, trying to get him ice time and putting him in situations where he's going to succeed. They want to bring him along. I think Matt Savoy's a little further along just because he played last year in the American Hockey League. He had some really good chances last night. Could have probably buried one or two. But I think Ike Howard is kind of finding his way, and you're starting to see the talent and the ability, and you're starting to see why he won the Hobie Baker last year, because he does have a lot of offensive skill, and it's just a matter of getting the timing and getting up to speed with players that are a lot older, a lot faster, and stronger than you are. And I think that's going to take some time. And the owners always said that they're going to take time with these two young players. They like having them around, and they think they're important for the future of the club, and it's important to have them here. So I think, you saw real glimpses of what Ike Howard is capable of doing. And, he scored the goal. Obviously, he's going to get some confidence from that. And I think as a player yourself, you kind of have to convince yourself that you can play at this level. Like, you can talk the good game and talk the talk, but until you kind of get some games under your belt, get your feet wet a little bit, and then you realize, you know what, I can play at this level. I can be an effective forward at this level. And I think we're starting to get to that. And Ike Howard's probably going to play with a bit more confidence now, and he'll probably get put into more offensive situations. So I think so far so good with him. And I think it's just that you see what we have. He's just a raw talent that needs to develop a little bit.
DVD joins. Derek, the Oilers' next opponent, Montreal, if anybody wants to do some advanced scouting, they're taking on Calgary tonight. The Calgary Flames are dead last in the NHL in goals per game at 1.67, which is not a huge surprise to me. They weren't a great offensive team last year, and they made no changes. And then Huberdeau's out to start the season, and Pospisil's out, and it's been a real slog for them. Dustin Wolf isn't going to save the night every night in his second year. I just think that was unrealistic as well. And I really don't think it's a terrible thing for the Flames. Where their organization's at, they're building the new arena. They want their team to maybe be a little bit better then when it's there. There's also that McKenna factor out there. Not that they're trying to tank, but how concerned do you think they'll be in Calgary that the fact that they simply cannot score? Like, how quick would a Rasmus Anderson trade? Like, would it come quicker? Because we all know he's not staying. Do you think you do it quicker, or do you just wait till the deadline to move?
Well, that's a good question, because, Calgary Flames are a bit of limbo. Like last year, they almost made the playoffs. Like, they were right there the whole season. Everyone expected them to drop off throughout the season, and they kind of outperformed themselves. And this year, they're kind of underperforming. And you're right. There's so much pressure on Dustin Wolf to come in, and everyone thought, oh, this guy's going to be our savior. We gave him a big contract. They're playing him almost every game. And he's struggling a little bit. Like that was always the thing is with Dustin Wolf, and the concern I had going into the season, last year he had Dan Vladar to kind of be there. Okay, if things weren't going well, Vladar was capable to come in, make some saves, play some games. I'm not sure how cool he is. Like he needs a backup. And I think the biggest thing for the Flames to do is to go get some veteran guy that can help him out, because he's kind of on an island right now. He's all by himself, and he doesn't play well. Then all the kind of onus is on him, and then everyone turns to him and says, wow, look at that big contract you got, and now you're struggling. So the Flames are always going to struggle to score. They're always going to have to be a team with this young group that we're going to have to play tight. They're going to win 2-1 games, 3-2 games, because they don't get a lot of scoring. Kadri does most of their scoring. Huberdeau's there as well. Like you said, he was hurt early on. So I really do think that the Flames just kind of, they're going to go through this rough patch, but they need some of those younger guys to kind of pick up their game. And that's what they were expecting this year. They needed some of those guys that had really good years last season to kind of take the next step. And I think you're seeing a little bit of that, but then you're also seeing a bit of regression in some of those younger players, because now people know who they are. They're not going to take them for granted. And that was the big thing for me for the Flames going into the season. No one's taking Calgary for granted this year. Last year, they may have snuck up on some teams just the way how hard they worked and how hard they played and how good Dustin Wolf was. They're not going to do that this year. And I think that's the big difference in this season, last season, is teams are prepared and ready to play the Calgary Flames. They're ready to play them hard because they know the Flames are going to play hard. But you're right in the sense that this is a team that wants to peak with the new arena. They want to peak when the new arena gets there, and also when the Oilers window is kind of closing. So that's when they want to kind of take over that spot, and that's what they're looking at. But yeah, it's a long way away to start, dumping for McKenna. But I think this is a team that was hoping that they could take a step forward, but instead they've taken a couple steps back, and they're going to have to regroup here and kind of get their act together. And they're going to have to do it internally, because I don't think Craig Conroy is going to go out there and make some sort of trade that's going to bring someone else in here and get this thing turned around. Even though, they may have to move some big names at the deadline in order to make that progression. So, like, is Kadri still around? That Huberdeau contract's going to be tough to trade. You're never going to get rid of that contract. But, do you trade some pieces at the deadline to kind of keep building for the future? And that's kind of the conundrum Craig Conroy's in right now.
Well, I think it's the easy one is Anderson. He hasn't committed. It doesn't sound like he's going to sign a long-term deal. So away go. They don't really have the only other pending UFA. You have like Jake Bean, right? Justin Kirkland, Ryan Lomberg, and teams that actually, Lomberg played in Florida, really fits into a style, aggressive guy, maybe a little pricey at that price point, but even in the salary cap world, that most he'd be in the playoffs, because if the other team retained 50%, the most he'd be in the playoffs is $1 million cap hit, which isn't awful by any stretch of the imagination. So he might have some interest. Kadri's the one. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Right, so you're getting a player not just for a 1-year run. That can always make it enticing, but he is 35, right? So how much he actually has 3 years left after this season. Now that I think about it, so that's might make that a little bit hard. I guess the Flames would have to retain something, right, on that. Yeah. So it would, they're not going to retain half, I wouldn't think, but they might have to retain $1 million or $1.5 million or something. But yeah, it's to me, that Craig Conroy, this is a fascinating season to see what he does as an organization. I don't think you can just, rip it down to nothing. I think you just might have to, take out a few pieces. But if you try to rip it down, you're basically saying, well, now it's 10-year rebuild. Because that's just the truth, right? Like there's no quick fix on if you're doing full on tear it down rebuild, you're basically looking at 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think I think Conroy used the word reloading or retooling a couple of years ago when he took over talking about the Flames. So, but yeah, looks like they're heading in the right direction last season. They've obviously hit a snag this season, but I think they are kind of asking more of some of those younger guys to come in here and fill those roles. And I think that's Conroy said, we're going to give them an opportunity, see what they can do. And right now, they're faltering a little bit, but I'm sure they're going to try and turn this thing around internally.
Yeah. DVD, always great to catch up with you, buddy. Have yourself an awesome day.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. That's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. Covers the Oilers, Flames, Jets, and the Vancouver Canucks. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Con's talking to a few people in Phillip and Don Ellis. So we'll figure that out during the commercial break. Who got the tickets for tonight? That's awesome. But first, let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. Need furnace repair at night, on the weekend? Call Legacy OT. I'll tell you about Legacy at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Vegas Golden Knights goaltender Aiden Hill will not travel with the team on their upcoming 3-game road trip. He's considered week to week with a lower body injury, according to Bruce Cassidy. Hill suffered the injury in Monday's 4-1 win over the Carolina Hurricanes. On the ice tonight, the Wild taking on the Devils, Sabres host the Red Wings, and you got Montreal taking on the Calgary Flames. In the association, the Raptors kick off their season in Atlanta, taking on the Hawks. That one gets going at 5:30. We've also got the Knicks and the Cavs. The Nets taking on the Hornets. Magic host the Heat. Sixers taking on the Celtics. Bucks and Wizards. Clippers and Jazz, and the Mavs hosting the Spurs. Camrose Kodiaks earlier today falling to the Lloydminster Bobcats 7-5. And in the NFL, Washington Commanders will be without quarterback Jaden Daniels when they take on the Chiefs this week. Marcus Mariota will make his 4th appearance of the season. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM NHL, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan.
Your partner in power just skated onto the ice. EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365. UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
The madness continues at the Brick. Get your home ready to host. Save up to $1,200 on made in Canada sofas and sectionals, up to 30% off coffee tables and nightstands, and up to 25% off bedroom and dining. Buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off appliances. Hockey season is here, and so are big savings on big screen TVs. Save up to $800, plus get free local delivery on screens over 50 inches. The Brick, saving you more.
Looking for an all-season vehicle with room for the hockey gear, comfort for the daily commute, and rugged capability for your weekend adventures? That's the all-new 2025 Jeep Compass, and you'll find it during the biggest sale of the year this month at St. Albert Dodge. Now, what can I say? It's a Jeep, it's a 4x4, and it's loaded with standard features like an 8.4-inch touch screen, keyless entry, and heated.
Hey, how are you? And welcome to the Jason.
Welcome to the head up the trail and see
welcome.
how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Get ready, Edmonton. Glow Christmas Festival returns to light up the Edmonton Expo Center from December 4th to 31st with dazzling activities for the entire family. Wander the glowing trails, meet Santa in his sleigh, and shop from over 30 local artisans and vendors with handcrafted gifts and holiday treasures, perfect for everyone on your list. Get your tickets and learn more about what's on this season by visiting the calendar of events at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Monopoly Double Play is back at McDonald's. So let's practice winning. You just won 25 grand. And go.
Yes!
I said 25 grand.
That's what I'm talking about! Yeah!
Much better. Okay, now you just won a brand new Chevrolet Corvette. I think she just fainted. Impressive. Feel like a winner on pack and in-app. Monopoly Double Play is back. While supplies last, 1 in 5 chances to win game piece prizes at outset. Chances to win draw prizes depend on number of entries in each draw. Cash prizes payable by e-transfer. See rules in-app.
Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers presents a massive 4-day unreserved heavy equipment auction at their Nisku site, October 29th to November 1st, 8 a.m. Live online bidding on offer, core construction heavy equipment, trucks, trailers, nearly every industry covered, including over $20 million of ag equipment. Register to bid online. It's free. Priority bids, timed auction, on-site viewing, all start October 24th. Demand for equipment is strong. Contact your local territory manager to consign. More at rbauction.com.
Groceries, mortgage payments, family holidays, a new car. That's what profit shares look like for Vision Credit Union members. Each year, we return about 75% of our profits, $35 million last year, to the people who bank with us. Because at Vision Credit Union, when you're an owner, you get your share. Why not get yours? Learn how at whatsyourshare.ca. That's whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. Oh, that's another banger that just ages well. Love it. Haven't heard that in a while. Cons. Classic. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta. PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, when you make a $50 deposit, use the promo code Gregor50 and they'll match it and give you another 50. Pretty good deal. PlayAlberta.ca. Coming up this hour, Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM will join us. The Business of Sport, Rich Winter, and we have a very special guest, Ian Pulver, joining us in the 4 o'clock hour as well. So lots to discuss in the sporting world today. Business of sports, I should say. We got Spec later on, the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. We're also going to talk a little, maybe some MLB, NFL. Interesting week in the National Football League coming up. Some games for this is where you start to maybe see a little bit of separation. Some teams who want to stay in the race need a win. So we'll get to that and more also for you Oiler fans. A night off to watch the Oilers. But if you're interested, the Oilers, of course, taking on Montreal tomorrow night. The Habs are in Calgary to take on the Flames. The Flames struggle. Do you think the Oilers are struggling to score? Hell, the Oilers look like a juggernaut offensively right now compared to the Flames. Flames dead last in the NHL in goals for. They have only scored 11 goals in 7 games. 1.57 goals per game. Not good at all. Like the Oilers are struggling, and they've scored a full goal a game more per game. They've got 18 goals to the Flames 11. They both played 7 games. So that is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination for Calgary. So not only are they not scoring, they're also getting outshot. So it is not a good combination. Meanwhile, the Montreal Canadiens come in. They are the 3rd highest scoring team in the NHL, averaging 2 full goals a game more than the Calgary Flames right now. So we'll see. The only thing the Habs their special teams are kind of meh. 17% on the power play and 73% on the penalty kill, but they're winning games. Their 5-on-5 play has been very good, and they have been highly entertaining games. They score a lot, they get a lot of chances, they give up a lot of chances. It's fun. Also, congratulations, Philip. He is going to the game tomorrow. $600 donation for charity. Thank you very much, Philip, and thanks for Don and Sally for bidding that up as well. We got a lot of texts coming in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll get to those. Some other topics. There is a I want to get to this article because I think when somebody puts in the time to bring up something that, we talk about it maybe on the edges and we mention it, but to go into a deep dive on things, I love it. So there's an article written by Mike Petrillo. And it's basically about the upcoming World Series that starts on Friday. I think many of you are going to be watching it. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we know that no team had a lower strikeout rate than the Blue Jays in the regular season. They just didn't strike out. They put the ball in play. They scored a lot of runs. And they're up and down the lineup. They had a lot of contributors, right? Like Ernie Clement. Look how, remember that it was 2 months into the season and he was still hitting 400. They got a lot of guys who make contact. And it's not just making contact, but they get hits. Meanwhile, the LA Dodgers, no team of pitchers has struck out more batters than the Dodgers. So you got the team who can throw the strikeouts the most versus the team that strikes out the least. It's a great battle in that regard. But it's not just that the Jays get to bat on the ball. In the playoffs, the Blue Jays are out-slugging the Dodgers by nearly 100 points, and everybody else by a lot more. Like the Jays, they're 6th highest OPS in playoff history at 878, the 4th highest slugging percentage of any postseason team that's played at least 7 games, dating back to 1969. So the last 50 years, things change in before then. And Vladdy Guerrero, 6 home runs. George Springer, 4 home runs. Kirk has 3. Ernie Clement's got a 619 slugging percentage, and he's only struck out twice. You look at every one of their guys, look, their number 9 hitter just went back-to-back games with 2-run home runs in games 3 and 4 to get their offense going. Like, they're unreal. And then you look at the Dodgers, and these are all stats, again, from Mike Pietrello's article on MLB.com. I thought it was fantastic. So the Dodgers had the third lowest OPS, 531, second lowest slugging percentage of 279 of any postseason team since 1969. So you're talking like two of the best over the last 50-plus seasons. And now they're healthy. You look at the Dodgers pitching, really, really good. Jays batting, exceptionally good. And really it comes down to who do you think's going to happen? Now, the other thing is the Jays' fast swing rate has massively increased, and he's got the whole chart. If you're a chart fan, you'll love it. So in April, it was down at about 20, and then it went up to 25, then down 24, 23, up to 29, up to 32. And now in the postseason, it's at almost 40. It's fantastic, right? And that's what Milwaukee basically couldn't do, right? They couldn't hit. They could not hit against the Dodgers. And that's why the Dodgers starters went complete game, went 8 innings, right? And so when you have that, and the other thing is, because you're getting out so often, they didn't have to face guys through the lineup as many times, right? And the Jays, like look at Varsho. I think Varsho's the best example. So Varsho, through the first 5 games of the ACLS, wasn't playing very well, or wasn't hitting very well. His defense is obviously very good. They had the day off, and he said, you know what? I'm going to our hitting coach, going to work with him, and he normally can turn things around. And then you look at Varsho in game 6 and 7, came up with 2 really clutch hits. All of a sudden, he's hitting again. Like, it's just subtle adjustments that they can make. And man, like I haven't been this excited for a while about it. Now, obviously the Jays are in, so that's a factor, but it's been a while for me to get this riveted about baseball because, hey, the Dodgers, you got really good pitching. You got Ohtani, who obviously is a very good player. Schnell, like they got a monster lineup, right? They pay huge money. But the Jays are and have been the best hitting team in baseball all year long.
Yeah, I met Yamamoto and Glasnow as well. Like some really good arms to start, right? I think that's going to be the key. If the Jays can just stretch out those long at bats, like if Vladdy can have a 12, 13, 14 pitch at bat, like that's obviously going to go a long way for them. And I'm intrigued by it because, you hear a lot of the national writers, they talk about the Jays, and one of the words you see is pesky. I think that's a great word. Like that's what you want to be when you're in a playoff team, especially if you are out talented, let's say. Like if you can hang around and just kind of grind on teams, stay in it, keep it close, you never know who's going to step up in the playoffs. Jimenez showed us that with the back-to-back games with 2-run shots. Like the Jays have those guys stepping up in crucial moments. So yeah, you look at the payroll, Jays obviously spend money as well, but not like the Dodgers do. But I think they can hang around with this one. And if you want another good article, Keegan Matheson had just about how close the Jays were close to signing Shohei Ohtani. And, Schneider said, if anything, we want our hat back that he left with. But yeah, it's going to be awesome, Gregor. I haven't really seen this buzz. Like, we're in the business, so we follow along. When they make it into the playoffs, it's one thing, but just the Jays fans at the mall, you're seeing the hats, you're seeing people around the office that don't usually talk baseball, and the first thing they start asking you is, how about those Blue Jays? Hey, it's another awesome level. It's great.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's exciting. Like our text lines had more Jays texts than I can think of in a long, long time. And because the thing about the Blue Jays team is, like, they're pretty likable team, right? Like obviously Vladdy's their superstar guy in the playoffs. But they got a lot of other guys. Like Ernie Clement just finds ways, like clutch hit, starts a rally. You know what? Good defender. Varsho is like, look at that play that Varsho made just running the bases from first to third the other day on a single to right field of all play. Like it's right there, and Varsho looks, guy hesitates, gone. Like they're a very smart team. They're good defensively. They hit and they got some guys. Like anytime your number 9 hitter goes back-to-back games and 2-run jacks in the third inning, like it's impossible not to get fired up for that. It'd be like if all of a sudden the Oilers are in the playoffs and back-to-back game Ty Emberson is scoring a game-tying goal or a game-winning goal. You're going nuts as a fan because it's and as a team, because when the guys who aren't expected to do things that they do, you're like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So it makes it a little bit more exciting. Then you throw in, they got a rookie pitcher coming out of nowhere who's looked pretty good. And, even Bieber coming off his injury, right? The guy hadn't played in a long time, and he's pretty well. Their bullpen had a few moments of sagging, but, look at Hoffman. Look what he did in the ALCS, man. He was almost unhittable. He only gave up one run. He had a 1.23 ERA. Pretty darn good.
Throw Scherzer in there as well, not making the roster for the first round, right?
Mad Max comes in there and just, his performance. And it wasn't like it was a dominant performance at all. He had 4 walks. But he was just battling. And I'll say this, the Jays games for the most part keep you entertained. I think they're a very entertaining team. You know what? And if you're a baseball purist, that Jimenez bunt, when the guys, they're in on both corners and he still lays down the perfect bunt to put the guys over into a scoring position. If you're a traditionalist of baseball, you're like, oh my God, that's such a really good bunt. And they do that a lot of the time. What about Connor Falefa? We talked about, you're putting Connor Falefa in, and then look what he did when he came in the lineup. Had a lot of clutch hits for them. So it's the Jays are entertaining. There's no question about it. And, it's like the Oilers, if you look at the playoffs, Oilers fans were loving it. Remember the whole year Connor Brown couldn't score to save his life? He gets in the playoffs, all of a sudden he's scoring goals. Matthias Janmark is scoring goals in the playoffs. And fans this is unreal. Obviously, McDavid went nuclear one year. Draisaitl's gone nuclear, right? Bouchard did. So you still have the stars. But I think when it's a team and everybody finds a way to contribute, it makes it more entertaining to watch. So I can't wait, honestly. The Jays are the underdog. There's no question. But it would be... and it's funny, everyone's like, oh, the Dodgers spent so much. It's not like the Jays haven't tried to spend money, right? They went after Soto. They didn't get him. They went after Ohtani. They didn't get him. They gave Vladdy a lot of money, but nothing compared to those two. And so the probably, the Juan Soto one, that's the one I never really understood. Why offering Juan Soto that much money? Ohtani I can get because he pitches too. He's a freak. But the Juan Soto contract cons, I never understood why the Jays were offering that much. It didn't make sense to me. And I think in hindsight, they will be very happy. It doesn't mean that Soto isn't a good player, but I don't think you're ever going to live up to that contract.
Yeah, kind of like they just got caught up in it.
Yeah.
Almost who can spend the most money? No, it's in a few years, Gregor, I think you're right. That's going to be when people look at oh, maybe they didn't need to do that one.
Hey, boys, I've never watched so much baseball in my life. All my friends are asking where we're watching the game on Friday from Lance. Exactly. It's fun to feel part of something. And that's one of the best parts of sports. Right? Think about it in your own family. Maybe your wife, maybe your kids. They're not huge, but suddenly they're, hey, Dad, are we watching the main mom? Are we watching the Jays game? It's great. It just, anytime you can feel part of something, you know what? For young people, you can go to the bars. You go to first round, they got the game on. All of a sudden, you're high-fiving strangers. Jeez, I'm not even a big Jays fan, but I'm having fun. It's great. That's what makes it entertaining. I love it.
Spoiled fan base. The Oilers going there back-to-back, and now the Jays.
Well, that's true. Well, but
hopefully you get a win this time.
Oiler fans would say spoiled. Let's use in what regard here? They made the playoffs once in 14 years. Or was it 14, 13? No. 12, once in 13 years. So,
they're the greatest team in history as well.
Yeah, I know, but over 35 years, it all depends on I will say Oiler fans have been spoiled by having elite level talent. That part is fair. No question. And obviously they won early on. And even when you look at it, but spoiled is hard. Spoiled, I don't like. I'd just say lucky because there's obviously luck involved.
I meant the last 2 years specifically, but yes.
Yeah. But are you spoiled if you lose back-to-back championships? Oiler fans are
fun rides.
Yeah, but it's funny. If I ask, and I always tell Oiler fans this because they're like, oh God, they lost. It was brutal. I'm like, yeah, but you had 2 months. You had 60 days of super fun feeling. And then you had 1 day when you lost the cup final. And that's like, oh, that 1 day can't trump all 60 of the other good ones. But the human nature, sometimes that's what you feel like. But if you broke it down and said, look at the fun you had after this game and this game and this game, you had way more fun nights than you had bad nights. You did. But I don't know why, but it seems as humans, we focus more on the bad ones than the good ones. Might have to get a psychologist on once to discuss why that is and how do you change it? Because you can't tell me those runs weren't unreal for Oiler fans the last 2 summers. Last 2 springs, I mean. You've been amazing. So let's get to a quick break. When we come back, Dave McCarthy joins us. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu.
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right? Available now, only at Booster Juice.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440. After every game this season, tune in to Andrew Walker for the post-game show. Let's talk some hockey. Let's talk about the game on Sports 1440.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Hey there, this is your wake-up call. It's time to change to your winter tires. Unless you want to be sliding and swerving around icy roads like you're some kind of dummy. Head to Big Toy Shop and get it done right for a great price. We won't lie to you, inflate your bill, or waste your time. Time to change your tires. Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road. 780-298-2797.
When you've just got to get your wings on, bring it on to Game On is Sherwood Park's new home for game night and good times. Every hump day is Wing Wednesday, and you know you're going to need extra napkins. Get your wings done the way you like with classic or signature sauces, or try them with a dry rub. Just 69 cents each, 25 flavors to choose from. And while you're here for Wing Wednesdays, you can enjoy $4 sleeves of Tilt Lager. So fly the coop and come to Game On Kitchen, Sports Bar, Arcade, Baseline Road, Sherwood Park.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular priced order when you use promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.326. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Hey, Greg's one day. I was a wreck for a month after we lost the cup. I'm too intense from RBS. Well, you probably weren't the only one. That's fair. That's totally fair. I guess say for that one night, it was rough. But yeah, for a while, you probably have some tough nights. But you still had more good nights, I think, overall in consecutive runs to the Stanley Cup final. Think about how many fun nights you had as an Oilers fan the last few years. And not even in the regular season. Like, you won a lot of games in the regular season too. So it's been a good stretch. And we'll see. The Oilers, they're a playoff team. I think we all would have pretty much 100% agreement on that. Like there's a few things you can get 100% agreement on. I think the Oilers are a good team. That would be 100% agreement. You could get 100% agreement on the Bill 20 was maybe one of the dumbest bills in history to put in to make voting worse. How was it better? It's not better. It's worse. Lines were way longer. Everything's terrible. I think we'd agree on those two things. Should not make voting more difficult. We already have enough people who don't vote, which could be a whole other conversation. But making it worse? No thanks. Now, let's get around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, as they celebrate the return of hockey with Fan Day deals every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. You can get a Big Mac, McChicken, or a filet of fish for only $4.49 plus tax, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. And, oh, by the way, it's Wednesday today. You know what we're going to do? Cons, I'm in a good mood. Somebody's going to win a $50 GC right now to McDonald's. Very simple. You're going to text in the correct answer. And if you have the correct answer, do you want to do first correct answer, Cons? Yeah, let's do first correct answer in. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. It's not a layup question, but it's all right. Which Edmonton Oiler currently leads the Oilers in plus minus through 7 games? 833-401-1440. Their name and your name. Correct answer. 833-401-1440. See who gets the first correct answer. If you get it, you win a $50 GC courtesy of McDonald's. As we welcome in Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Davey, how you doing?
Don't boo, vote. And I think I stumbled on an episode of Oprah here. Every time I turn around, you're giving out prizes. Do you have something for me?
Well, maybe next time, Davey. Sorry, came in. Nothing right now. Nothing right now. All right.
What if I win the contest?
Oh, do you know the answer?
I don't. That's why I'm trying to look it up.
That's why you're looking. Hey, well, our listeners are quick, buddy. We've already got the correct answer. Connor's going to have to go through it and find out who is first.
Is it Andrew Mangiapane?
No, it is not Andrew Mangiapane, which my funny stat was Andrew Mangiapane through the first 6 games had a 100 shooting percentage. He had 2 shots and 2 goals in 6 games. They both came in the first 2 games of the season. So it's good that he was scoring. The problem was he wasn't shooting. But last night, he unfortunately didn't score, but at least he had some chances. He doubled his shot total in 1 game last night. That could have been my other question. Which Oiler doubled his shot total last night? Being him. But Jake Walman also, because he hadn't played yet. So he would have.
So I guess he was like the Dos Equis man there for the first few games of the season. He doesn't always shoot, but when he does, he scores goals.
Yes, very much true, right? So very true. What is the double of 0? It's still 0. So I guess Jake Walman didn't double his shot total. So now that I'm remembering math, 0 times 0 is 0.
Still 0.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of zeros, the Calgary Flames offense. How much like a struggle? Like they were bad last year scoring, and they're even worse early in 7 games. Davey, is this going to be a really long year for the Calgary Flames?
Yes, I'm deeply concerned about the Calgary Flames. Like last year was one of those years where, quite honestly, I think they overperformed expectations, and I think a lot of things fell their way. And even in saying all that, they didn't make the playoffs. And I didn't expect them to have a year where that many things would break their way again. They didn't go out in the offseason and really upgrade the group at all. So I was concerned about Calgary coming into the year. And from what I've heard, it has done nothing to diminish those concerns on my part of what's going on in Calgary right now. They are not a good team. They can't score. I was actually quite surprised they didn't go out in the offseason and get a quality backup goalie to help Dustin Wolf out as well. They're overplaying him. They have no structure in front of him. So his game isn't looking really good. No one's helping him out. They're not scoring. This is going to be a very, very long year in Calgary. And I guess the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is the fact that if you're ever going to have a bad year, this would be the year to have it, because there's a pretty good prize awaiting whoever it is wins the lottery. And Gavin McKenna, no guarantee you win it, but obviously if you have the worst year, you've got the best chance. They need a guy like Gavin McKenna. They need a Gavin McKenna to Calgary as Connor McDavid was to the Edmonton Oilers to really drop the guy in and totally change the look of their team. They've got some nice young pieces there, but none of them foundational pieces, I don't think, in Calgary. The Matt Coronados, the Connor Zaries, they're nice young pieces. They're not foundational pieces. They need a guy to come in and be the lead dog in that group, and they don't have that right now. So yeah, it's going to be a long year in Calgary, and it'll be interesting now to see if they start selling veterans off sooner than later. But I just see a team with very little direction right now. They look kind of like a rudderless group. And when you have a situation like that and your roster is inferior to begin with, it's you're prone for a long year.
Yeah, no, that is very true. And, there's a few other players. Some people are pretty high on Keaton Verhoff, the right shot, 6'4" defenseman who is playing at the University of North Dakota right now, just left the WHL. You got Ryan Rubroki out of Niagara. So, but, I don't think any of them are right there yet with Gavin McKenna. But speaking of draft pick players, you know me, Dave, I always try to be pretty cautious on young players rather than overhype them and then rip them after that. But man, young Matthew Schaefer has played. He has looked so good. Like, I can't believe he's not even 18 years and 50 days old yet, for goodness sakes. Like, he is a young 18-year-old player in the National Hockey League and is playing phenomenal.
Yeah, he is. He's a guy that makes you want to try and tune into the New York Islanders. And this is not to throw shrapnel at the good people on Long Island, but how many times in recent memory have you said that the New York Islanders are appointment viewing? It just doesn't happen very often. They had a few good years. 3 or 4 years ago when they got to the conference final 2 years in a row, but they certainly didn't do it in an exciting fashion. They were a very stingy defensive team. They got timely scoring. They got good enough goaltending. And then ultimately they ran into a team in the Tampa Bay Lightning that was as stingy as they were, but had a few more game breakers, and they ran into a wall. They were never an exciting team. With Matthew Schaefer, this guy has the ability to bring you out of your seat every single shift that he goes on the ice. And as you point out, he's not just 18, he's a young 18. What he is showing is been really impressive to watch. He's got poise. He's got, like, I had a talk with Matthew in the summertime. It would have been around the beginning of August or so, maybe late July, at a golf tournament around town here. And I was just struck by the maturity of this kid. Like, I really was. A lot of times you meet guys who had just been drafted. They look scared as hell. They're not making eye contact with you, not because they're being rude, just because everything's coming a mile a minute and you're young and you're scared and you're nervous and you don't want to say anything that offends anybody. But Matthew Schaefer, man, like he looked me in the eye, shook my hand. He didn't look like he wanted to be anywhere else. He was engaged in what I was saying as much as I was engaged in what he was saying. He was with his brother. His brother couldn't have been nicer. And I came away thinking, like, we sure this kid's only 18? Like, are we sure he's not at least 23? Because I've met few 18-year-olds with the level of maturity that Matthew has. And when you know his backstory, that is incredible. He is a guy that is easy to root for and a guy that I think everyone on Long Island can get behind. This type of guy that is future cap material, in my mind, for fun and soon. Like, that's how impressive he was. And to see what he's been able to do on the ice. Guy's got a point in every game he's played so far. He carries the puck up the ice with confidence and speed. He creates. He's in position. Defensively, he's big. He's rangy. I haven't find anything to dislike about this kid's game yet. And that's the scary part, is that he's going to get considerably better than he is right now, just through osmosis and gaining experience in the National Hockey League. This guy is the complete package, and I've really been impressed with how he started.
Spencer Knight, 1.96 goals against, a 937 save percentage in Chicago right now. And like when he's in goal, it's lights out. When they put in Arvid Soderblom, it's a little bit of a different story so far. But Chicago, by their standards, I think they got to be pretty happy with the start they're off to. Now, and Soderblom, like, he's played Boston and St. Louis, not necessarily dominant teams. It's not like the only playoff team that Chicago has played is Florida, but
right.
They did beat Utah, and they did beat Anaheim, and I guess they beat St. Louis. My bad. So they're a playoff team as well. So, but they're off to a much better start early on. Knight's numbers are obviously going to come down somewhat, but what do you make of the Blackhawks, and can they avoid being a bottom 5 team?
Well, I will say that I am more impressed with what I've seen out of them than I was expecting at this point in the year. Look, the fact that they found Spencer Knight and he is giving them some reliable goaltending is important. That was a big problem that they had last year. Couldn't keep the puck out of their net. Now, you're right. His numbers are not going to stay where they are, but he has shown the ability to give good goaltending. And he's at the age now where a lot of goalies start to come into their own. And he went through some struggles a few years ago, and hopefully he's got that sorted out and he's past that. But he's a guy that we forget was highly touted when he came into the league in Florida. That was at a time in Florida with the Panthers where Bobrovsky had a down year. And the suggestion at the time was, well, is this guy going to start pushing Bobrovsky out of the number one role sooner than later? And obviously that didn't pan out. But it's so rare for goalies at 20 years of age to come in and start playing the bulk of the workload. It doesn't happen. 25 seems to be where goalies really hit their stride. So he's getting to that age now, and he's playing with some confidence, and that's been good to see. Connor Bedard looks as good as I've seen him so far in his NHL career. There was a guy that probably was overhyped when he came into the league, and the expectations were at a level where he never had a hope of meeting them. He looks like he's put the last couple of years in the NHL of experience to work this summer and understands now what he needs to do in order to be successful. And that's the details of his game. He's got the raw skill set. If you put him on the driveway with a goalie, he's going to score 10 times out of 10. But I don't care how good your shot is if you're not in position to get the puck, or if you're getting pushed off the puck in the corners, or if you're not retrieving the puck strong along the walls, those type of things that lead you to being in positions to use the shot that he has, which is on another level. He's been much better in those areas of the game this year. Frank Nazar looks like a hit. I talked to somebody when he signed that deal, who's very familiar with the Michigan hockey scene, University of Michigan. And I said, what is your bet here? Like, do you think that was a good decision on the part of Chicago to commit to him long-term at big money like they did so quickly? And I was told by this source that it might be like 2 years, but he said he was fairly confident that this was going to work out. Well, it seems like it's already working out. And Frank Nazar, not only has he been good on the ice, I love the personality that this kid has. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I like the guy that he is. And I was told by this source that his demeanor off the ice and what he's all about and his professionalism and how he approaches the game is second to none. That's why Chicago felt comfortable in placing that bet on Nazar, but he's already delivering. So, we've seen goaltending improvement. We've seen Bedard get better. We've seen Nazar hit. Like, now you're starting to see some elements coming together here, and maybe Chicago won't be quite as bad as we were expecting. I still think that lineup is pretty lean. It's pretty lean. But that's what they need. They need Bedard to reach the level of expectations that he had when he came into the league. They need Nazar to hit sooner than later. Seems like he's hitting. They need goaltending, and now they need some more pieces. So, I look at them as a team that, to me, I would consider a good season for Chicago if you can kind of be in the mix around the trade deadline. I don't expect them to make the playoffs. I really don't. But if you can play like 60 meaningful games before you start to kind of hit the wall and some teams make up some ground and put some space between themselves and the Blackhawks, I think that would be a successful year. Because coming into the year, to be honest with you, Jason, I was worried Chicago was going to be a bottom 3-5 team right from the word go. And here it is already 3 weeks that they've bought themselves into the season where you start to think, hey, you know what, maybe we are a decent team here. Maybe we can feel good about ourselves. And you start coming to the rink in a good mood and you have breaks go your way. And then before you know it, you're to Christmas time and you've played meaningful games instead of a team like, for instance, Calgary, where it looks like, man, we're not even at November here. Yep. And you're thinking like, holy cow, we got 5 more months and we don't have a chance.
No. When do you think regular season play starts to impact the decisions for the Olympic rosters? Like, is it game 25? Like, I know, we know there's 6 locks on all the teams, right? And then there's I could probably don't Team Canada and say I think there's 10 or 11 or 12 realistic locks that I think are going to make that team. But how much do you think this regular season will impact the decisions for the Olympic roster?
So my understanding is they don't have to announce the rosters nearly as early as they did the 4 Nations, right? It's into January, if I'm not mistaken. Do we know the day off the top of our heads here that they need to announce the rosters?
Yeah, I think it's something like in January. I got to double check.
So I would say if you get to December 1st and you're still not having a great year, or you've got a guy who maybe wasn't necessarily on your radar that has played lights out through the first 2 months, I think that's enough of a sample size. You're probably looking at 25 to 30 games there of play where I think that's a big enough sample size. You can start to lend legitimacy towards it. So I would say like early December. And then that's when I think managers will start to recalibrate what they were thinking coming into the year. Because let's be honest, all of the countries have their rosters written down in pencil on a depth chart in August, right? Of what they think it's probably going to be. And then obviously the lower you get on the roster, the more likelihood it is that some guy might play themselves out of contention and some guy on the 6th line, if you will, might play themselves in. And I think at that point, December 1st is where you take stock and say, okay, well, here's a guy that we thought we liked, but man, this guy that we had down the depth chart, he's outperformed them to this point, and we got to start taking that seriously. Like if Connor Bedard keeps this up, he wasn't in my discussion for Canada in the summertime. If he has another great 5-6 weeks, does he play himself up into the conversation, not only for what he's done this year? Remember, you can take 25 guys. So you can take a lot more players than you could to the 4 Nations, and he is going to be a part of your program down the road. Has he done enough to want to include him this time around, to give him that taste? That's when I think, managers will start to recalibrate around December 1st when you get 25, 30 games.
Yeah, you look at the roster, they had basically 13 forwards at 4 Nations, and guys who weren't on that roster, they're off to great starts. Mark Scheifele, 7 goals already in 6 games, 10 points. Tom Wilson, 4 goals, 10 points in 7 games, and brings you and Tom Wilson scored you 30 goals last year.
Yes. And one of those games against John Cooper earlier on in the year, just to make sure he reminded him, don't forget about me.
Nick Suzuki, another guy who didn't make the roster, who's off to a good start. So I think, if you look at guys, I think Konechny is going to be hard pressed to be back on the roster again. I'm not sure about Hagel, and not that Hagel's a bad player at all, but I think there's going to be 25% new players on the team. There's just going to be some turnover. I don't think all 3 goalies are going to be there for a variety of reasons. I think there's going to be some forwards, probably at least one defense, because they basically had 8 D-men, and they're going to take 8 D-men, 14 forwards, and 3 goalies. That's what I'd assume. I don't see why you would take 15 forwards and 7 defensemen. That doesn't make much sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
What
about Brad Marchand? We were debating this at practice this morning.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He's close. I know he didn't play a ton, but man, you look at him in playoffs, and then what he's got? He's a point-a-game player to start the year, right?
Yes.
So I think he'll be one of those guys that they're like, hey, how's he looking in January? Where's his speed at? All those sorts of things. And I think if he's there, he's a big game player. And
big game player.
Yeah.
NHL size ice. Yeah. You can rely on him in a 4th line role, an agitation role. He can kill penalties. If someone gets hurt, he can elevate, and he's shown you that. And he can probably, you're asking him for 3 or 4 games. Can you give me 3 or 4 games of your best? I think he can. And the other thing I'd say about him, when you're asking somebody for 3 or 4 games on that stage, the moment will not get to Brad Marchand. And I'm confident in that in a way that I wouldn't necessarily be confident in another guy that doesn't have near the international pedigree that Brad Marchand does. That's why I think it would be, and you can even sit him out as a healthy scratch. He's not going to bitch and moan and whine and complain. I just think everything about the guy says versatility, whether it's top line, lower in the lineup, out of the lineup, good vibes in the room, NHL size ice. You're not asking him to fly up and down an international ice rink. And he's playing good right now. There's still a lot to like about Brad. And I'll tell you what, I thought down the stretch last year, like March and April, prior to the Stanley Cup playoffs, after the 4 Nations, I wouldn't have said that. I would have said, yeah. And I did say, this is a guy that might be in tight to make the Olympics. I think I have to change my mind now.
Davey, have yourself a great one. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good, buddy. See you.
You betcha. We'll see you on Sunday on the Runch. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts, and play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
You've probably heard the term supply and demand. Something is needed and someone supplies it. We're GS Construction, and we're in the supply and demand business with you. Edmonton and the surrounding area continue to grow. Infrastructure has to be continually replaced and upgraded to keep up with demand. You see it with new buildings and new roads, but what about below ground, where all sorts of pipes bring you water and take wastewater away? That's where we come in. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
When pumpkins glow and night turns chill, there's one fall treat that fits the bill. A pizza shaped like a jack-o'-lantern with smiling pepperoni pattern. Thin golden crust, so cheesy and tasty. Get yours now, better be hasty. It's only around for a limited time for a spooktacular price, $17.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, yes, it's true. Papa John's Jack-o'-lantern Pizza is coming for you. Spookily and proudly locally owned and operated.
Smart, connected, community-driven. Jason Gregor sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Join the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Gregor, 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. I'm super excited to tell you today that we have fed over 250 families so far with our Feed 500 Families event. With that said, we are still short of our goal. We have decided to continue this on through to the end of October. With your help and your support, we can get this done. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
Game day sauce! Buddy, quit rolling up to the bar and looking like it's grade 9 grad and you're wearing your dad's old work suit. Do yourself a favor and call Game Day Suits.
Game Day Suits is Alberta-based and makes fully customizable, made-to-order suits. Perfect for hockey teams, wedding parties, or even the office crew. Book your free consultation at GameDaySuits.ca.
I'm rocking one right now. I look deadly.
You know they can't see you, right?
Okay, Mr. Announcer, you want to go, tough guy?
Game Day Suits!
Wendy's most important deal of the day has a fresh lineup. Pick any 2 breakfast items for $4. New 4-piece French toast sticks, bacon or sausage wrap, biscuit or English muffin sandwiches, small hot coffee, and more. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We're saving you more is what they focus on. Furniture, appliances, mattresses, big screen TVs, you name it, they have it at great prices and better service. The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, what is the solution for the Oilers' lack of goals being scored at even strength?
Well, a few things. Their best guys aren't playing at their best level yet. So that, hey, McDavid and Draisaitl, they drive the bus offensively. That's just a fact, right? Like for 1 or 2 games, your other guys can have good games. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, it's usually going to be your best guys. So I think that's reason number 1. And reason number 2 for me is they're not around the net often enough.
Yeah, solution. Zach Hyman's return. I wouldn't want to wait that long. I hope they get it going before that. But maybe some players on the team need to channel their inner Zach Hyman. Go to the net, be aggressive, do those sorts of things. I think that would go a long way for it. Jake Walman, 1 game, 1 goal. How many goals will he finish with this season?
Oh, geez. How many goals? He's gonna be on the second unit power play. I'll say like 8.
8?
Yeah.
Career high 12 with Detroit in 63 games. I'm gonna give him double digits, but not a career high. I'll say he finishes with a nice round number at 10. Question number 3 for you. If it's your call, who's throwing out the first pitch in the World Series Game 1?
No, it's gonna be Joe Carter. That'd be my call.
That's who you'd go with too? I'm calling Cito Gaston. I don't know. I think Joe Carter's kind of the obvious one there. If you could get like Roy Halladay's son.
No.
Well, I'm just throwing out another one. If it's not,
he would,
not
honestly,
Joe
Roy
Carter.
Halladay's son wouldn't be in my top 5.
All right. Question number 4. Raptors kick off their season tonight. Where do they finish in the East this year?
Well, Colin, that's a really good question. I could see that. I'm going to say they'll make the play-in. I think they're going to be 10th.
I'm with you. I don't think I have them as getting right into the playoffs, a play-in team. I don't know if I have them getting past that, but yeah, I think the 10 is probably a good spot for it. Final question for you today. Jonathan Lipnicki celebrates his 35th birthday today, of course, starring in Jerry Maguire, Like Mike, and other movies in his youth. So when you think of kids who crushed it in movies and TV shows, who comes to mind?
Go ahead.
the little girl in Little Miss Sunshine, I thought, it wasn't the biggest role, maybe. Like, there's a lot of supporting cast around her. Then she went on to be in Zombieland, which I thought was awesome. And I guess, growing up, the Olsen twins in Full House, they were the first to come to mind. So those would be the two for me.
Really? Hey,
maybe Lindsay Lohan in that movie where she played two characters. Pretty impressive. Parent Trap, yeah.
Who am I thinking, man? Well, I guess if I had to go, like, Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense might be like the one like great role for a young kid that I can think of. But then the other one would probably have to be Macaulay Culkin in the Home Alone series. He was, kids still love him in that, man. So I'd probably, I guess I would go with that. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head.
It holds up.
Yeah. So yeah, the kids still love it for sure. What about the other guy? I guess you probably have to Daniel Radcliffe in Harry Potter, right? He was that's pretty sound. So trying to think of like any other ones. No, I can't think of any that stand out.
For Declan, how about the cast of Stand By Me?
Well, it's a good show. Yeah. Multiple different characters at that. So yeah, I could see how, but it's hard to but and she was what's her name? In War of the Worlds. Dakota Fanning, is that her name? I think it's Dakota. Yeah, she was pretty good in that. So that would be my choice. So. Boys, what about the Malcolm in the Middle kids? Yeah, they'd be up there. Could see it.
Frankie Muniz was pretty good.
Yeah. Now he's a race car driver.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really expanded, moved on, grown up. That's what happens. Although if you're driving a race car, you're really growing up, Livingston? Well, we'll find out tomorrow on the show. Let's get to a quick sports update, and then we're going to get to the business of sport. Rich Winter, got Ian Palmer joining us in about 20 minutes time and more. But first, let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Your fridge just got an upgrade. Over 200 chef-prepared gourmet meals are waiting at Loca Quality Markets. 2 locations, Sherwood Park and Edmonton. Check it out online, loca.ca. Good, healthy food.
The Sports 1440 update.
The Vegas Golden Knights goaltender Aiden Hill will not travel on the 3-game East road trip, considered week to week a lower body injury, according to head coach Bruce Cassidy. He'll suffer the injury in Monday's 4-1 victory over the Hurricanes. On the ice tonight, you got the Devils in the Wild, the Red Wings in Buffalo, and the Flames hosting the Canadians in the Association. The Raptors kicking off their season in Atlanta, taking on the Hawks. That gets going at 5:30. Elsewhere, Magic taking on the Heat, Pistons in Chicago, Bucks host the Wizards, Spurs taking on the Mavericks, Suns host the Kings, and the Timberwolves are in Portland. Earlier today in the AJ Camrose fell to Lloyd Minster 7-5. And some news from the NFL. Quarterback Jaden Daniels will miss week 8 for the Commanders when they take on the Chiefs. Marcus Mariota getting his 4th start of the season. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, another edition of the Business of Sports with longtime NHL player agent Rich Winter and agent Ian Pulver. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace replacement company for zombie hunters. Those who know their old decrepit furnace passed away years ago. Its decaying husk shuffling around now as the burn soft. Legacy Heating will send your undead furnace to its grave, replacing it with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Protect your legacy from the beast in the basement. It's time to destroy the furnace of the dead. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
When pumpkins glow and night turns chill, there's one fall treat that fits the bill. A pizza shaped like a jack-o'-lantern with smiling pepperoni pattern. Thin golden crust, so cheesy and tasty. Get yours now, better be hasty. It's only around for a limited time for a spooktacular price, $17.99. Better ingredients, wants better pizza? Yes, it's true. Papa John's Jack-O-Lantern Pizza is coming for you. Spookily and proudly locally owned and operated.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Love it. Haven't heard that.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I want to explain how our operation works. You see, over at the new RV store, they take orders and try to sell them all by camping season, and sometimes they sell out early. Sometimes they're stuck with a few that just won't move, and maybe they take a couple of used ones on trade. At No Bull, it's a whole different ballgame.
You have inventory arriving all the time, right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. The RVs at No Bull are here on consignment. Folks choose to sell their RVs with us because the customers are already here.
And you specialize in used RVs.
Better believe it, Bob. The new RV stores are not that interested in used models. And nobody in Alberta has more quality used RVs than we do. Not by a long shot. So if you want to sell yours fast, come to where the buyers are. And that's here.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator to cuff tears, and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips, we fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome back to the Gregor Show, as always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website, where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta at PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you are having a fantastic Wednesday. Of course, a few days away from the World Series. Toronto taking on the LA Dodgers. Toronto hoping to win their first championship since 1993, the memorable Joe Carter home run. The Dodgers, well, they've been there for quite a bit lately. Hey, spend some money, you got to win. Now, it doesn't stop any other team from spending the money. They just spend it a little bit more than others do, but it works for them, and that's the business of sports, which of course is what we do every Wednesday at the 4 o'clock hour. And we are joined by a longtime NHL player agent, Rich Winter, who joins us today from Toronto. Rich, how you doing?
Good. Busy day here, but yeah, the buzz in town is pretty exciting. You know, this town's alive with baseball fever, so it's been interesting. Everywhere you go, there's Blue Jays jerseys, caps. They're looking forward to something the Leafs haven't done for 58 years. So see if they can do it in 31.
Did you fly in for the game on Monday?
No, I flew in and had a meeting with a guy before the game who was going to the game, and then I went and had another meeting. So it's not a lot of hockey in my life with all the things going on off the ice. So I met up with Jarmo Kekalainen, had a good visit. That's what he's doing. And yeah, it's a good day, very busy day, but looking forward to getting back. I got to go to Calgary first and then get back home on Friday.
All right, well, stopping in Calgary. That's fun. Well, we have a special guest join us, a guest that you know quite well. He's currently an NHLPA certified agent, graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology at the University of Western Ontario, then went and got a Bachelor of Law from University of BC. He actually spent 15 years as a labor attorney for the NHLPA. We're going to have a lot of stories from that. And then in 2006, he founded Pulver Sports, which has now evolved into Will Sports Group, current NHL player agent. Ian Pulver joins us on the pod. Ian, how you doing, man?
Good, Jason. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Hey,
Bye,
I'm
Rich.
good. Jeez, we got a lot of lawyers on the show today. Holy cow, this is going to be fun. Hey, I love it.
Exactly.
Now, I want to, well, of course, we talked to Rich lots about being a player agent. Everybody has unique experiences, but I do want to talk for you. When you graduated, you spent then 15 years as a labor attorney for the NHLPA. And so you're there in the 92 strike, then there's the 94 lockout, the 2004 lockout. So you had a front row seat to that. When you're a labor attorney, is that like the peak stuff that a labor attorney wants to be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, it was a dream come true. I came out of law school and found my way. Bob Goodnow hired me in 1990. There's great history also with Rich involved, being very involved in the late 80s. Rich was very active in kind of challenging Alan Eagleson along, and not as much, I don't think, with Bob, but more with Ron Salser and a bunch of players. And then Alan was replaced finally in January of 1990, and I happened to graduate from law school in May of 1990, so it was Bob Goodnow's first hire at the NHLPA. I guess indirectly, with a little thanks to Rich, I found my way to a dream job.
I haven't sent you an invoice for that. I forgot about that. But Bob was pretty crafty, because as Salser and I were out there taking the punches and leading the freight, he just kind of quietly sat in the weeds and watched what was going on, and really did, to his credit, did his job positioning himself as a little bit of Switzerland when it all came to fall. And I didn't realize Ian was his first hire. But it was Ian wasn't there, but the day that 200 players, and you can't even imagine, 200 players flew down on their own dime. They were that upset. The way I looked at the Eagleson thing is, and Ian will know this, is like hockey players are pretty placid. They're pretty easy to get along with. But if you spear a teammate, you run their goalie, Marty St. Louis will fight you, right? And I think what happened is the gap got so big that they finally realized that they were getting screwed. And that's when they decided, they got to get involved. And it was, I remember saying to players, if we could get salary disclosure, which we got just before Bob came on board, because that was sort of John Ziegler's peace offering to maybe get everybody off Al's back. And I said I thought there'd be, 5 millionaires within a year or two. And I think there was 20 or 30. I mean, it just opened up. And really, Ian, I think if Bob hadn't have come in, we wouldn't have had, there's a massive arena, new construction, because owners now had to scramble and figure out how to pay what the players were earning and deserved, really, right?
Yeah, Jason and Rich, Bob actually, just recently passed away. And they had a memorial service for him about 10 days, 2 weeks ago. I went down there and was, an honor. I was chosen to speak on behalf of Bob and his family. And, Bob is really the perfect person at the right time. Yeah, Rich and Ron did great work. I think it actually kind of the transition to Bob put his blood, sweat, and tears into the union. Really, it's hard to even describe, Jason, what it was like. There was no iPhones, there was no email. It was travel and grind, and the players were looking for someone to lead the way, and the travel that he invested over the first 5 years and throughout his whole tenure of building solidarity, so much so that the players, missed the whole year in 2004. And really in large part because the league and the owners wanted to get rid of Bob. They wanted their salary cap first and foremost, and they got it. But it was a testament to his character and the solidarity that was built through the 90s. And, there was some fabulous times in the 90s. I call it the golden era for the players. Salaries skyrocketed. People forget, Gretzky and Lemieux used to challenge to be the highest paid players in the game. and Lemieux had a clause in his contract that always said that he'd have to be paid $1 million more than Gretzky.
Really?
Yeah, in his contract.
Well, Bob did a great job, Ian, what he did was, I remember the early stages of arbitration, and we had various agents trying to do them, and you'd sit on some of them and just shake your head. The players weren't getting well served. And I think setting up a team, you led that team at that time, Roland does. And I think that was transformed, and just the knowledge transfer to us, setting up, information about salaries. I mean, it wasn't very long before Bob arrived where, players wouldn't even talk to each other about their salaries, right? They were told not to. And I think he did a tremendous, I didn't agree with everything that Bob did. And I think one of the challenges that, we've always had, and he and I talked about this briefly before we got on, is it's a different role representing a single player and representing a group. Because, when I'm challenging Ian, perhaps on a call 15 years ago about one of my players, I'm right. He's not getting fair representation, but it's not about him. It's a balance between young players in the entry-level system, older players in free agency, and talk about that a bit, Ian, because that's a big challenge.
I mean, I remember guys like you and Don Baisley, we used to have the debates of the macro versus the micro, and, us representing the group versus the individual. And as time goes on and life gets more complicated, and it seems to be a lot more complicated these days with so much information flowing around. When I turned to be an agent, I wish I had known a little bit more, when I was at the union, what it was like to be an agent, because once you're in the field representing the individual interests, you kind of get it a little bit more. So it's a fine balance between representing the group, and there were some difficult decisions made during the lockouts, and who would qualify for lockout pay versus not. And, the union was always under the microscope, but the flip side to it is that the agents were always taking the first call from the player when things weren't so good. So, there was a lot of respect for guys like Rich and Don Meehan and Pat Brisson and all the other agents that were agents at the time when I was at the union. And then I became an agent and realized, okay, there's a whole different side to it when you drill down and live it. So,
well, and I think, Ian, there's a feeling like, I don't know if we disliked each other or just disliked the experiences we had at times when you're head to head, because, and you mentioned to me the other day when I texted you after Bob passed, and, as we get older, we look at things differently. And, I'd get really frustrated with the guys at the union, because I think sometimes we felt like they're talking down to us. And I'm not sure that's the case as much as I think it's true that they really, as a group, you believe you're representing the whole, and that we don't understand that. And I think it's really true, because I'm so focused. We talked briefly about a arbitration or a discipline hearing that Dom Hashek had. Sorry, I'm working out of a hotel lobby, and my view of it completely different in many cases than Ian's. Those maybe not so much. Disciplinary hearings, we tend to be on the same side, but sometimes you got to balance. You got the guy who just got whacked, right? Who's a member of the union, and you got the guy who whacked him, who's a member of the union, and it's a difficult hearing to handle, right? Because you got one player on the other hand who's got 47 stitches and is going to be out for 6 weeks and can't understand to a degree can't understand why you're fighting for the other guy, right? That's it. How did you ever have any real difficult battles with that? Because
on supplemental discipline all the time. Our job was really to serve as a check and a balance versus the league to make sure that they were consistent in meeting out discipline. And that was our kind of mission, to make sure that Brian Burke in the early years and then Colin Campbell in the latter years when I was around were as consistent as possible in handling discipline. And at times it would come across that we were kind of supporting the victim. Sorry, not the victim, right? The aggressor. But we were just trying to do that to make sure that, they were consistent across the board when they were rendering decisions. And sometimes the victim and the victim's agent were like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I'm missing 3 months, but we would flip around and say, well, we got to make sure that we know what the rules were. So, there were those push and pulls all the time. And that's what we did. I mean, there was extreme communication always to the agents during our era. Maybe it's a lot more less so during the current administration, maybe in part because of the cap, and maybe because we weren't building a marketplace anymore. So it's a little bit different, but that's how Bob operated. Bob was on for 16 years straight. He never turned it off. And, it was every single day he would walk through the doors of 7-7 Bay or 1 Dundas, the headquarters of the NHLPA, always on high alert. He never let his guard down, and it was driving the players' rights, driving the players' benefits, pushing the agents to do great, to make sure that the players were properly represented. Some agents, and there were times where Rich would write letters or call us and say, don't agree, but at the end of the day, we had the group, you had the individuals, and it worked out pretty well from 1990 to 2006.
Yeah. Well, and they did some really things you don't think about, Jason, is like they instituted an arbitration system so when agents and players have disputes, we're not in a 5-year battle with a lawsuit. And I assume that was in large part, Ian, because Bob just wanted to keep all of that out of the newspapers. But the reality of that, it's made it really easy to settle those cases, because we all know if you sign an 8-year deal and a guy thinks it's going to be really cute and fire you year 1, we know what the drill is. You pay X amount. It's been decided by an arbitrator in Ron Salser's cases years ago, Alexei Zhamnov. And those kinds of things have made our life easier, right?
Yep.
Because you can imagine, I mean, players leave reasonably regularly, not maybe as much as other sports, but you've got maybe 20, 30 players changing agents there. You can imagine the fodder that would provide for social media if that, those went to trial, and it would have been a nightmare. So there's just a lot of administrative things that were done that have proven to be pretty helpful to all of us as an industry.
Yeah,
so Bob gets credit for that. I mean, I remember we all would sit around and, we weren't happy with Bob in a lot of, and Bob could be a bit arrogant, Ian, at times, and maybe that's necessary when you're leading a group, but we get frustrated. But it was hard to get really frustrated because salaries were growing 10, 15, 18, 20% a year. So you'd kind of go, I really didn't like the way he did that. But on the other hand, he was doing a great job for all of us. At the end of the day, Bob drove the economics and if you think of these kids with short careers or us, even with the longer careers, he created an economic benefit for all of us that's in the tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, and listen, in 94 was a critical point where we said no to the salary cap, and that launched another 10 years of no cap, players, really hitting it. I mean, guys like Correa, Forsberg, really jumped through the hoops. We're earning up to $10 million a year, and it's not far off of what it was, 20 years ago now, right? So, when you look back on that era, I would say that everybody did pretty well.
Well, and I think about it, like I find it hard to believe, but one year, I think his big contract after he won the MVP twice was about $9 million average. He made $11 million a year. That's 15, 20 years ago.
Right. And that just illustrates the impact the salary cap has had on the players. And on the opposite side, the worth and the values of these teams have gone through the roof by securing the salary cap.
Now, it's interesting there because you're right, the top end guy's salary hasn't gone up, but the average player's salary has increased a lot, right? So if you look at it and say, okay, there's way more money available to the players now than ever before, and we could still argue it's probably not enough when you consider they don't get any money anytime there's an expansion. That always surprises me a bit that the owners get 100% and the players get none of it. I know it adds jobs. I understand all that, but we're talking $2 billion now is what it's looking at for a new expansion. When you look at it from an NHLPA, because you talked about how, Ian, you said, man, I wish I would have known more about the agent side before I got into it, because I probably would have understood some things beforehand. But I want to go back to, because in the business of sport, we like to talk about lots of different jobs that are available. And when you're a labor attorney for NHLPA, what were your main responsibilities when you're a labor attorney for the NHLPA as a whole?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, the roles have certainly expanded. I mean, the role I played is first and foremost, I traveled with Bob all over the place and kind of had player relations and was able to interact with the players. I headed up the salary arbitration program and the grievance arbitration program. And when we got there, and Rich will remember, the arbitrators were not independent arbitrators. They were appointed by the league. And in some cases, some of the judges that were on the panel were friends with John Ziegler and Alan Eagleson. It was absolutely crazy. But so we were responsible for finding independent arbitrators, building fair programs. From a legal perspective, if you don't have an independent arbitrator to resolve disputes between management and labor, the paper that the collective bargaining agreement is written on is worth nothing. And so that was our one saving grace with the league, with the owners, to say, hey, you know what, we have a dispute here, and if we can't resolve it, we're going to person X, the arbitrator. And that's when things got real, because that's when the league got real in negotiations with the players and the union. So I was very involved in that. I was very involved in supplemental discipline, working with the league, and educating the players. We would hire outside attorneys to be involved as well. But now I think at the NHLPA, John Gerba leads up a team that actually is in-house that does a lot of the collective bargaining as well with Don Zavalo. It's a fascinating job, that's for sure. I will tell you, at one point in my career, I thought I'd be at the NHLPA forever. But as we all know, shit happens, right? And so...
Yeah. Well, I like Ian. I'd love to know what did a day, there's no average day at the PA, and there's really no average day in our job now, but what does a day look like? You come in on a Tuesday morning, middle of a contract, it's no negotiations going on. What are you doing on a Tuesday in December?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. First of all, it's now 18 years ago, right? So
wow.
But I will tell you this, from back in our day, from October 1 to December 1, we were on the road for 90 days.
The fall tour.
Traveling to 30 teams. So I was part of that team. Now, Ian Penny or some of the other labor attorneys weren't at the time. On all of those, we were writing letters to the league. We were fielding calls from agents, from players. I mean, we were dealing with injuries. We were dealing with disciplines. We were dealing with agent calls on marketplace. There was no cap. We were very involved in negotiations and support. The computers, there weren't, like in the early years, there were no computers. So, it was like we were building programs to help the agents, with programs. And then we would prepare for, summer meetings and other things like that. So, just like our job, Rich, I wake up on a Monday after a weekend on junior hockey or AHL hockey. You don't know what's going to come through your door, and that's the wonder. That's what's kept us so young for all these years.
Little things like this week, I had a young player who got traded last week.
Rich, hold on just a sec, because we got to go to a break so we don't run too late. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We want to get more with Ian Paul, Rich Winter here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play. And the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts. And play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocks.yeg.com.
You'll see us digging holes. No, we're not looking for buried treasure. You'll see us digging trenches as well. And no, we're not building a fort. We're GS Construction, and you'll see us in neighborhoods throughout the Edmonton area. So what are we doing? GS Construction provides rehabilitation and upgrade services to Edmonton and surrounding communities. Some of our underground utilities have served us for years and are past their useful lives. We replace them, so they're around for years to come. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Edmonton Elks Spectacular is back, presented by Goodwill. October 24th versus the Calgary Stampeders, featuring pumpkin carving contest and more. Plus, we're collecting donations supporting Edmonton Women's Shelter Win House. Tickets at goelks.com. Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, 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 nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Throw a load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
From the first face-off to the final, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk with live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows. We bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7 only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play score and win every game. See more at ontherocks.yeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.430, we continue on the business of sports. Today, our special guest, Ian Pulver, joins myself, Rich Winter. Of course, Ian, a longtime player agent, started his own firm in 2006 after spending 15 years as a labor lawyer for the NHLPA. And we've discussed a lot about kind of what you learn in that role, and then you go to the agent's role. Having been on that, like the group side of the NHLPA, and then you go to represent the individual player. Was there any, you mentioned, hey, I wish I would have known it to help you on the PA side, but what was the benefit of becoming your own agent or an agent afterwards, having worked in the NHLPA? Like what did you benefit from that? How did that help?
It gave me instant credibility, which helped a lot, sort of, but then it took a long time. It took me a lot longer to build my own business than I certainly expected. I left thinking I had 800 friends. And then you realize that, there's loyalty, strong loyalty, and I respect that now more than ever. And so it took me longer. I didn't want to go work for a big company. I kind of felt like I had worked for a big company and I wanted to kind of forge my own way. And, for listeners out there, it's hard because, you start and you identify talent and I don't know, Rich probably would be closer to the number than I, but it's like baseball. Like, you know, if you're hitting 300, 3 in every 10, you're doing quite well. And that's how hard it is to get a seat in the lodge of the NHL. You know, I like to say you can bring every single NHL team, fly them into Pearson, bring 32 buses down to Scotiabank, and you can't even fill an entire section or maybe 2 sections of that entire building. Or you bring them into, you know, the oil drop, you know, the stadium. Is it Rexall?
Rogers Place.
Rogers Place. You can't fill 2 sections lower bowl of NHL hockey players. And then you take it one step further. Chris Chelios, you would have to kill Chris Chelios to get his chair in that section. He played until he was 48 years old. And so Connor McDavid's not giving his up, and Zach Hyman's not giving his up. But that's a wonderful example of a guy that, you know, lo and behold, he got it, he secured it, and he's not giving that thing up, right? And so who's going to make it, who's not? Rich has lived it. I've lived it for 18 years. Rich has lived it probably for 40 years. And that's how hard it is to make it, and for an agent to find the guys, whether they're drafted or not. And that was the biggest kind of like, you know, I still can't get over
so
it.
Often you don't, like, I remember having Patrick Stefan and Pavel Brenda go 1-4. And we had a couple other kids go 8-10. We thought we were running the table that year. We were the cock on the block, man. We nailed it. We thought everybody else was jealous, and we loved it. And not one of those guys had a career.
Rich, I lived it with
Zdeno
the
Chara,
man.
who went in the 3rd round, is a Hall of Famer.
Rich, number 1 overall, Nail Yakupov I had with Igor. And then we had Alex Galchenyuk Jr. go 4th overall or 3rd? I think 3rd. And I had the same feeling as you did. And Nail Yakupov, wonderful guy. Love him. I still am in touch with him. Wonderful human being. You know, I wish he had made it, because his personality is wonderful. And I felt the same thing as you did, Rich, at the draft. Like, hey, this is it.
Yeah,
and
I made it. I won.
Well, Ian, what's interesting about when you start your own firm, like for most people out there, lots of guys, you know, or girls, you know, you work in a company somewhere, you gain experience, and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to start on my own. And usually you have some clients when you start out on your own, right? Because you forge relationships. But, you know, so you left, because then there was the year-long lockout, and then you started in 2006. So did you even have one player when you came?
So, you know, I actually did not. But then what happened was, you know, different things occurred. So Scott Gomez, his father, Carlos, was representing him at the time. So, you know, I had helped them do 2 salary arbitrations while I was at the NHLPA. So Carlos retained me to help him with Scott, and we hit a grand slam home run right out of the gate. And he signed, he left New Jersey, turned down a contract in New Jersey and hit the jackpot with the Rangers. Then Jeff Solomon left the business, and Brian McCabe, who was a friend of mine through the PA, he hired me, but he was already under contract. But that helped me immensely in the Toronto market. That Brian was in Toronto, and for all the young aspiring players. And then, you know, one thing led to another. A lot of former players in Ontario had sons playing hockey at the time. They were my age. And so that helped me build, but I built it from scratch. Like, yeah, maybe I thought more guys would. I would say that I was never really, really good at acquiring players that already had agents, which I'm not, like, that's just kind of not my thing. Every once in a while I did get a call. I got that from a player who was looking around, Patrick Lalime called me. There were some guys that called, but I built it from the ground up, grassroots, in the field, getting young players. And, you know, it was more meaningful that way, but it was harder. But, you know, Rich lived it. He got to.
Well, and I was kind of lucky because after helping two players come out from behind the Iron Curtain, when the wall came down, one of my client's father-in-law, David Volek's father-in-law, was a bit of a real serious go-getter, and he really built that pipeline for me.
Right.
So I was kind of lucky. I mean, I would go over there. It was unbelievable. I'd go over there for 10 days, and I would have 10, 15 meetings in a day. And you can imagine, Ian, how tiring that was, because not only was I having the meetings, I wasn't having them in English. I would speak in English. They would translate in Czech. Mom would respond in Czech. It was like, and then I'd go, I could, after 5 or 6 these a days, I just could hardly go to the next one. You represent some Russian players. It's really hard because it's exhausting. You get about 15 minutes of conversation in an hour and a half. It's insane.
Yeah.
All the clients. I remember one year I had 22 out of 23 on the Czech junior team. I don't know what these guys were thinking, Ian, when I took them all out for dinner. Are they thinking like maybe my agent's got two? I never even thought about it, but it was. And then of course all those players blossomed at the same time. Elias, Sikora.
Right.
And of course, every agent had a better idea and a willingness to do it for 1%. So we did lose a few clients. I wouldn't go to the 1% model.
Right.
Now, Ian, you mentioned that it wasn't a strength of yours, or maybe it was more of a moral thing. You're like, I'm not into kind of taking guys from other agents at that point. But there is a time, I'm sure, where the player's looking for a change, but sometimes even the agent's like, you know what, maybe we're just not a fit. Have you ever had to have that conversation with the player and be like, you know what, maybe it's best we go our separate ways?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as I'll never forget this, and my daughter is a lawyer now, but it happened to me where it happened years ago, and I remember she said, "Well, now you're an agent, Dad. Like someone's left you, right?" So I mean, it does happen. It's rare because there's a respect, and I think it starts off, especially with your long-term guys. You were with them when they were 15 years old and 16 years old and right through. And then, there's a certain mutual respect if you find the right players. And really it stems from the families, but it happens from time to time. And it happens to all of us. So like everything comes out in the wash, and generally speaking, your reputation is everything. And, I'm not saying another player won't come my way that has another agent, but it's far and few between in my business model. But others are over the top trying to do it, and I don't think that's right.
And those guys, Ian, they're all saying, "Oh no, the guy called me." Right. 15 guys called me this week. I've had it a couple of times when I was really young. I was hanging out with Grant Fuhr all the time. And at that time, my wife and I are about the same age as Grant and Karine. And then we're going for dinner with Essa Tikkanen and Craig Mooney. And at one point, Essa actually phoned me and said he wanted, and I never even thought of recruiting Essa because he had Don Basie. And I'm thinking, Don's, I know Don. I like Don. He's a good guy. I never even thought about it. Then one day he called me and said, "I'd like to hire you." And I said, "Well, like I thought for marketing, like what do you, no, I want to hire you." And I was like, that was the only time where I had to, okay, like you live 2 blocks away, I'll come over.
Right.
But it doesn't happen very much. And I've actually had, Jason, to your point, like I've had a player who tried to fire his agent twice and hire me, but the agent's a friend of mine. So I would call him and say, "You're in trouble with this guy. Like but if you're going to lose him, I mean, I'll take him, but I want you to know." So the player stayed with him for a while and then went through the second go round, called me again. And finally, the third time I called, it's Kurt Overhart, right? I get along pretty well with Kurt. He does a good job. And I said, "Kurt, like, what do you want me to do?" He said, "Look, Rich, what you just said." He said, "He's a good kid. I like the family, but we're just, we're not really connecting on what he thinks I should be doing. So you go ahead." That was a strange one, but that's how Republicans.
Sorry to interrupt, but is there a code amongst agents that if a player approaches, like let's say one of Rich's guys approaches Ian, do Do you call the other guy first? Is there a code on that? Is it more come down to personal relations from agent to agent?
Yeah, probably personal. You hear the story on the other side, you measure the believability, and then you decide what to do, right? And so sometimes, like, you'll hear, I haven't talked to my guy in 18 months. And then that's kind of like a signal, like, I don't think the other agent cares that much about him. Or usually they're players sometimes that just are spinning their wheels. So it all depends on, especially like Rich said, there's a couple agents that I am friends with, and, that's a red flag. And, we're getting it sometimes when agents want to switch to work with other groups, younger agents. So, I had a call from another agent leaving a friend of mine. And he said, well, I'm going to leave with some players. And I said, I'm friends with the agent and I wouldn't engage it, but he went somewhere else to another friend of the other agent. And sometimes things don't make sense.
Ian Pulver joins us here in the Business of Sports, Rich Winter and Jason Gregor. It's always fascinating to learn that side of it. Ian, I do want to ask you one other one. Rich has always said for him, the big guys, because we've got a lot of people who question. I know you mentioned Scott Gomez. There's not a lot of players. I know Drew Doughty's probably the last big name guy to negotiate his own contract. And Rich even said, when it's a big name player, it's not that hard of a negotiation because you especially now that the numbers are public, right? So you're able to go there and say, okay, well, this team has $4.8 million in cap space, and here's the players that's similar into my mold. But the truth about comparisons are, I can manipulate the numbers a lot of different ways to find a comparable that I find is beneficial for me, because that's my job, whether it's I'm working for the team or I'm working for the player. How big of it is, because I know in arbitration, there's certain restrictions on what you can bring in rules. When you're just negotiating with a GM head up and there's no arbitration, okay, I got player B here and I think he's similar to player C, D, and E. Or do you not even bring up other players and other teams because every situation's different?
Well, it depends on the player's rights. You're always bringing up comparisons.
Okay.
Whether the team buys into it or not depends on the philosophy of the team. Okay. And then, it depends on the player's rights, whether he's a group 2 with no salary arbitration, then salary arbitration. And then the ultimate leverage is when you creep through closer to unrestricted free agency, then you start to hold a little bit more of the leverage. And then it depends on whether the team really likes the player and whether they have a replacement coming his way. So there's so many different factors. What I was going to say, I thought you were leading, do players need agents? They need agents. Players could negotiate their own deal, but no one is immune. Okay. Wayne Gretzky was sold in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
Other players, look at and this is one of the evils of the salary cap. You mentioned earlier, well, guys are doing quite well. Well, why don't you call Ryan Graves right now and ask him how he's doing, right? Ryan Graves is in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Pennsylvania. He may have the $4.5 million in his pocket, but he ain't in Pittsburgh, okay? Yeah. And Wilkes isn't a walk in the park either. I was just in Tucson. Tucson's a better place to be in your Coachellas, but Ryan didn't sign up for Wilkes. So, hopefully his agent's working with him, but it's not. The cap presents a lot of issues.
Oh, yeah.
That just isn't just the negotiation. And so there's so many things that go on involved. Players need support, players need representation, and I think it's important.
It very much is. We'll take our final break, and then we'll come back with Ian Pulver here in the Business of Sports. It's the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with the 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sgsaints.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Monopoly Double Play is back at McDonald's. So let's practice winning. You just won 25 grand. And go.
Yes.
I said 25 grand.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Much better. Okay, now you just won a brand new Chevrolet Corvette. I think she just fainted. Impressive. Feel like a winner. On pack and in-app. Monopoly Double Play is back. While supplies last, 1 in 5 chances to win game piece prizes at outset. Chances to win draw prizes depend on number of entries in each draw. Cash prizes payable by e-transfer. See rules in-app.
The madness continues at the Brick. Get your home ready to host. Save up to $1,200 on made in Canada sofas and sectionals, up to 30% off coffee tables and nightstands, and up to 25% off bedroom and dining. Buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off appliances. Hockey season is here, and so are big savings on big screen TVs. Save up to $800, plus get free local delivery on screens over 50 inches. The Brick, saving you more.
GMC's 0% event is on now. Get 0% financing on all remaining 2025 GMC models on limited terms, like the 2025 Sierra 1500 Elevation Crew Cab at 0% financing for 84 months. The 2025 Terrain Elevation All-Wheel Drive at 0% financing for 60 months. And the 2025 Canyon at 0% financing for 36 months. No matter what you need, there's a GMC for you. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by elksnation.ca, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth W football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts, elksnation.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
449, welcome back. Jason Gregor. Ian Pulver is our... Rich, you're still with us. I thought you were leaving. Thought you had to get on.
Yeah, I didn't know. You didn't really sort of let me off the hook there. So I stuck around, but I thought it was interesting. During the break, I got a text from a football agent who's listening to the podcast in San Diego and said, you and Ian are doing an amazing job. So that was interesting.
Well, there you go. Now, you guys, it's funny because, Ian, when you were in that role as an NHL PA, did you talk a lot with like the NFL PA, the MLB PA, and then do you guys converse lots with MLB and NFL agents on a regular basis? I think Ian,
you're on mute, Ian.
It might have muted yourself, Ian. Can't hear you anymore all of a sudden.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I had the honor and privilege to be guided and mentored by Michael Wiener, who was Don Fair's associate. Don Fair's number one lawyer, who eventually ran the union and unfortunately passed away at a young age. But we were very heavily linked to the Major League Baseball Players Association through Bob's relationship with Don Fair and Mike. And Mike came around and helped build the salary arbitration program. And so we were. And then we were involved with the NFLPA workers' compensation programs and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there are for years we used to attend the Sports Lawyers Association, and all the unions would be there. And so yes, there was interaction. And I think right now the Major League Baseball union is the last union standing that is hopefully going to ward off a salary cap a year from now. And they're studying and examining all 3 sports salary caps and how they operate and what the pitfalls are to the players, because, you know, at the end of the day, a salary cap pays the players an artificial amount of money that they wouldn't that they're not getting if there was a free market or a market with no caps.
So did you study, because I remember when 06 came around and they put in the cap for the first time, and then so they did all the money spent in the pot. Well, some teams, like before that, you had Detroit and Colorado and the Rangers and Dallas, and they were spending a lot more than everybody else, right? Did the amount of money spent before, like in 2004, across the NHL, was it significantly higher than it was in 2006 when there was a cap but also a floor?
And prior to the cap?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ask the owners, yes, 100%. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I mean, we saw their books, but do we see all the dollars? Not so sure. But that was why they locked us out, because their position was that the players were taking in excess of 70 or 80% of the revenues, or the defined revenues at the time, and that was their whole position. You'd have to ask Bill Daly that, but I mean, yes. So I think in 06, my recollection is that it started at 57%, 58%. We agreed to. Now it's down to 50 of defined revenues, and defined revenues, it gets really complicated because, okay, you got 50% of defined revenues, but there's a whole category in Section 50 of the collective agreement that sets out what the defined revenues are. And then you quickly learn that you have to take out the dollars that they spend to generate the revenue. So there's layers of expenses that are carved out. It's very complicated.
Well, Ian, sometimes it's like there's so much cross ownership. So you got a guy that owns a team and owns the parking garage.
Right.
Now, is he the revenue from the parking garage? Is that part of hockey related? Is that an independent business? Because if Jason owned it, it wouldn't be. You got that issue, and then you got another guy might own a piece of the TV network, so he's paying his team 50 cents on the dollar for the broadcast rights because he doesn't really want those to go into HRR. So there's all kinds of. I mean, it's a big job. Richard Schmidt at the PA, who oversees that now. I mean, they're going for months and months trying to figure out what this actual revenues were. I guess they're getting better at it now.
Yeah, they are. They are. I mean, you know, I think they clarified some things in the last go round. And they just extended the collective agreement for 4 years. So it is what it is.
Ian, what made you were the labor lawyer for NHLPA, and you jokingly said, well, I thought I had 800 friends. What was the motivating factor for you to leave the NHLPA and go out on your own? Was it just a change in life like a lot of people, or what was the main reason why?
Well, you know, Bob got fired by the players, and I didn't see eye to eye with the administration that stayed on, and I couldn't support that administration. So in February 2006, I resigned, and that administration was fired 18 months after I left. And so I just couldn't support. I had to stand by my principle of doing things the right way, and I had to move on. So I was at the PA for 15 plus years. So I struck a package and I moved on because I wouldn't support what proved to be not great stuff.
No, it turned out to be a nightmare.
Well, that makes sense. Ian, nowadays you represent a lot of really good players in the league. Miro Heiskanen, Thomas Chabot, Keandre Miller, Barclay Goodrow, go down the list, Tyler Seguin, and others. And, as an agent, you learn like guys, who are coming into, 24, 25, and then you got guys who are 35, 36, and just the difference and each individual player, like, how much as you get to know a guy like a Tyler Seguin, drafted second overall 2010 now. Like, it's 15 years. It's crazy to think Seguin's been in the league 15 years, right? And you get to know his family and everything else like that. And the negotiation, like now that players, a lot of them, we saw it. Now, McDavid's probably an example that nobody expected to just take the same. But guys are like, you know what? I made a lot of money. But Adam Henrique told me, he's like, man, like, sure, I could make maybe 500 grand more in another team or $1 million or whatever, but I want a chance to win. Are you noticing that more from players because more guys have made more money than they probably ever thought they would? Has that changed? And does that make it hard in a way as an agent? Because sometimes you're like, well, yeah, it's okay. Like, do what you're happy about, but there's really only one team that can win. So how do you balance that as an agent when you give advice to players?
It all depends on the player. And so, like, Tyler Seguin is a wonderful example. I mean, what a guy, and he's matured into this great guy that probably will one day work in hockey. I mean, he's a leader down there in Dallas and is yearning to win a Stanley Cup in Dallas. Like, he won in his first year as an 18-year-old, and then got moved to Dallas, and he's a father now, and whether he wants to move from Dallas somewhere else, I mean, those will be discussions, but to answer your first point, it's wonderful to see the Barclay Goodrows, who you knew when they were 14 years old, never drafted, fight through AHL, fight through, establish himself, win 2 cups, then get back to San Jose, not his first choice, through the New York Rangers, but see how they mature and become fathers. And so that's a wonderful part. And I'm sure Rich has seen it longer than I, where you get to see great guys grow up and, it's not always smooth sailing, and then they mature and they become adults and parents and wonderful guys. So that's great part about being an agent. Winning, it depends on the players. Like, I think players still have responsibilities in the marketplace to, stand for what their value is. And I think that's critically important. And, there's still a marketplace and a fake marketplace, whatever you want to call it. But, it's always fun. Lamar Jackson just beat Joe Burrow. And I think that we need that in our sport. And it's important for hockey players to be regarded that way. And I'm sure Connor in 2 years, hopefully he hits a home run somewhere else, right? Because, whether he's staying in Edmonton or not, but I think that there's obligations, and we need that for our sport, for the players, for the notoriety to contend with other sports. So winning is important. There's no doubt about it. And that's respect too. But really, at the end of the day, I came from the Gretzky Lemieux era, the Korea Forsberg era. Like, there's a certain obligation, the Gomez Drury era, right? Rich Winter with Hasek or Marian Hossa or whatever, right? So, that's
because Ian, when you talk about that, the minute the market shifts, the mentality shifts. And I remember, I think Patrick Waugh was making about 4.5, and Dom got 9. And all of a sudden, Cujo thinks he's worth 8, and he got it because all of a sudden, he's not Dom Hasek. He's the only guy available. 8's a little high, but it's not that high because, and all of a sudden the whole person, it's amazing how they shift. All of us, if there's an arbitration decision in the middle of your negotiation and establish that a comparable is worth more than they thought, they go, okay, we haven't got to pay that.
Well, it's funny because we saw that a few years ago when Werenski and Jones signed at 9.5 and 9, because a lot of people thought it was going to be 8. And suddenly Darnell Nurse got 9 because that's what everyone else got. And Kaprizov just got 17, right? And so he's $3 million higher than Leon Draisaitl, who just got 14, a year earlier. But, McDavid's obviously the exception. He signed a short-term deal, and, I guess, every player is able to do what they want. And it will be interesting to see how, because now Kaprizov is out there. There's somebody out there at 17. And, Jack Eichel went to 13.5. Kyle Connor went to 12. But
you know what? There should be a 20.
Gap,
there
right?
should be a 20. Okay.
Yeah.
There should be a 20.
Yeah. Well, there couldn't be a 20 yet. I think the most is 19.1, right? 20% of the cap. So it'd be 19.1 until next. Then it could be.
There will be one day, It may take a little longer, but it's coming.
Somebody will do it. All right. Now, is there ever a fun amongst agents? Do you guys have a pool? Just who's the first to 20? Do you buy them a beer on the road? How's that work?
No, but there is an appreciation, though, Ian. I mean, the odd time you'll get a call when you do a really good deal, and the guy will say, "Hey, man, thanks, buddy." Not so much now because it's not so driven as it was when there's no cap. But I remember it was funny one time when Brizgalov was got that big deal, and they traded everybody, and I remember Vokun's agents coming up and patting me on the back, going, "Way to go, buddy!" They were so excited, and I'm thinking to myself, but there's no jobs. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. That was the market. Philadelphia needed a goalie. And so, I remember calling Briz because he's, they're very competitive, as you know, right? So I called Briz. He asked me to tell him what Vokun gets because their stats are similar. Vokun's a little older. And I said, so you got 56 million and he got 1.5. And he was like, no way, you're lying. But that was an agency that misjudged the market because, it's great to have a comparable, but you actually have to have a seat.
Yeah, you have to have a team to get there.
Yeah, and that last point goes back to Bob. I would say that was one thing we were really good at. Like, we were really good at marketplace, building a marketplace, and really kind of having camaraderie amongst the agents in that department. And it was sort of more old school. There were more agent meetings back in the day, and guys would come in and, commiserate and talk about the deals, and everybody was excited. And so those were good memories.
Well, yeah, we were all on the phone going, okay, so Jason, where are you at with Schmitty?
Right.
I'm getting this for Bob.
Right.
And are you serious? That's all you're at? I'm at 6. You're at 4, or vice versa, right? And it was really even when you would pick up the phone for guys you didn't like that much, right? You just did it because we were all.
Yeah, we served as a conduit at the NHLPA to move that information around. Even if Rich was mad at us, we would still let him know. We would still call him and say, "Hey, don't fuck this up, right? Because someone else needs it."
Yeah. Well, Ian, Rich, thanks so much for joining us today. It's a fantastic hour talking the NHLPA attorneys.
I'm still trying to recover from Ian saying that he left the PA 18 years ago. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
Rich, we won't say it, but it's 4 decades. So good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Thanks for the memories, you guys.
For sure.
You're always old as you feel, Rich, and you don't feel old. So that's perfect.
I don't feel old at all. I got lots in the tank. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna walk away like Lou Lamoriello at 82, I think.
Hey, it's a pretty good run. Pretty good run for sure. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much, Ian. We'll see you around the rink. And Rich, see you next week.
Guys. Thanks for doing this, Ian. Good seeing you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, guys.
Unique. I love it. There's a guy, 15 years. We had lots of people that text in, say, Greg, I'm a labor lawyer. I didn't even know that was an option. There you go. That's the business of sport. There's so many different opportunities. Honestly, until I looked up Ian's bio last night, I'd forgotten that he worked 15 years as a labor lawyer for the NHLPA. So if you missed that part of the this interview, I'd definitely recommend and go check it out. Let's take a quick sports update with Connor Halley. Then we got Spec when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. The Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. You're going to need some winter tires. You probably maybe need some new ones. Well, 15% off all winter tires right now, only at Fountain Tire. Find a location near you, fountaintire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, 3 games on the schedule. At 5, you got the Devils in Wild. At 5:30, Red Wings in Buffalo. Then at 6:30, Flames hosting the Montreal Canadiens. In the association, the Raptors kicking off their season in Atlanta, taking on the Hawks. Tip-off set for 5:30. You also have the Knicks and the Cavs. Nets taking on the Hornets. Bulls host the Pistons. Wizards in Milwaukee. Maps host the Spurs, and the Kings taking on the Suns. And earlier this afternoon in the AJ Lloyd-Minster knocking off Camrose 7-5. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and hear another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Edmonton Elks Spectacular.
For joining us today, it's a fantastic.
Call them and say, hey, don't fuck this.
Versus the Calgary Stampeders, featuring pumpkin carving contest and more. Plus, we're collecting donations supporting Edmonton Women's Shelter Windhouse. Tickets at goelks.com.
I'm Gene Principe for Legacy Heating and Cooling. If you need a furnace this Halloween, it'd be a grave mistake not to
Call Legacy.
Hey, don't fuck this up, right? Because
repair, re-vampire your furnace. Just
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Legacy has a skeleton of furnaces in stock.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, no interest and no prints of payments for 1 year when you buy with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Wednesday afternoon.
How are you?
How are
even a lucky game day jersey? But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles.
Ian Palver joins myself.
One fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Think your credit's not good enough for a
Palver.
new ride? Think again. Go Auto's car loan calculator is here to help. No commitments, no credit hits, just real answers. You tell us a few things, and we'll show you what you can afford. Text credit to 780-777-7777. That's credit to 780 all sevens. Go Auto. We do the math, so you can do the driving.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
When it comes to choosing a hair clinic, the difference is in the doctor.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. Transforming how you feel about yourself is a very personal experience, and I'll work directly with you every step of the way.
Physicians come from all over the world to learn from Dr. Elliott.
When your personal goal is to help other people achieve theirs, you must deeply understand the latest treatments.
Want to feel confident and comfortable? The difference is in the doctor.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott at drvanceelliott.com.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the weather turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply has been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Joppa Machinery. Did you know that Joppa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Joppa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at joppamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5:10, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Thanks for listening to the show, watching it on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Very much appreciate it. Big thanks to Ian Palver once again for joining us on the business of sport today, which with Rich Winter. I always like that segment, man. We learn lots of different things from different sports and different players. Honestly, I'd totally forgotten that Ian was 15 years as a labor attorney before he became a player agent. So being a player agent now for 3 years longer than he was in the NHL. And he was in the NHLPA, man, in the 90s when it was strikes and lockouts and other lockouts. And it was it's a wild time. But like he said, man, it was like a dream job for a labor lawyer. You learn a lot. So pretty good stuff. If you missed it, I highly recommend checking it out on the podcast later, or go to jasongregor.com and you can see the individual interviews there. The Gregor Show always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll get to our bet of the day coming up a little bit later on. Of course, hey, 2 for 2 this week, but as you know me, I'm not the best at that. But we have a little fun with it, and we see how we do at the end of the month. And anything we make, we always donate to charity, which is fun. So there you go. We've only had a few months of being up, though. Let's be honest, but those months are good. You remember those more than the ones you don't, for sure. Of course, it's the OG of lottery tonight. $12 million at Lotto 649. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. If you look at them, they lay new pipelines, install new sewers and wastewater systems, while also rehabilitating existing infrastructure to prevent critical breakdowns. That's GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joined us. Spec, how you doing?
It's all right. Like, what's a guy supposed to do? There's no hockey game tonight. There's no baseball game tonight. There's no NFL game tonight. The hell, you're going to have to spend time with family here.
Yeah. Or I guess, Spec, you could scout the Canadians because they're playing the Flames tonight. But hey, the way their Flames are playing, that's not a team that I'm signing up to watch for right now because they just don't. Like, I know the Oilers' offense isn't very good, but they're still a goal a game better than the Flames' offense. That's how bad the Flames' offense has been.
Yeah, if your offense is worse than Edmonton's, then you better get to work because, the Oilers are a 2-goal-a-game team right now, and they got to figure out a way to get 3 or 4 on some nights, I would say, in regulation time, that is.
Yeah, no, they did get hey, they got a win last night. Defensively, they were solid again. And really, outside of that 2-minute, against the Senators, they gave the Sens about a 5-minute window, and then the Sens, to their credit, took advantage of it. But it was a game where 3 guys scored their first goals of the season. Connor McDavid got off the schneid, big for him. Ike Howard scored his first NHL goal, and then Jake Walman in his first game scored. Give me your thoughts on Howard, Spec, and with the Kapanen injury, I think this just extends the window of players that are competing because the Oilers don't really have to make a big decision until Zach Hyman. Now, Matthias Janmark, we haven't heard anything out of him. So if he's coming back or not, I don't think he went on the road trip. So, well, you were there. Did you see him skating?
He was on the road trip and he was skating, and he was in a picture post-game last night. So he was at the game. He's with the team. But after the game last night, Knobloch's, I listened to his quotes. I wasn't there in Ottawa. And he said, Janmark's not coming back anytime soon.
Oh,
So,
well, there you go.
It's another one of these Walman injuries that just goes on and on and on and on forever. So, yeah, like, listen, this is like in an alternate universe where everyone's healthy. Ike Howard's likely in Bakersfield right now. So he's got a chance that's been presented, an opportunity, and, he's doing his best with it. Like, it's hard to say you love his game in 9 minutes a night because that's just, it's difficult to be a noticeable player in that little bit of time. But I'll say the time he's getting, he's doing the most he can with it. He pops one last night, and let's see if that confidence takes him somewhere, Jake.
Yeah, and I got up to 1042, so it's kind of around his average a little bit, but yeah, it's still it's difficult. But you know what, your confidence, you're learning a lot, and I don't think it hurts him. Even if he plays 10 or 12 games, there can be a lot learned from that. But eventually, you can't do it all year long. I wouldn't do it personally all year long. I know there's some guys that have done it, but I know because people always text in, Joe Thornton did it. I'm like, yeah, Joe Thornton was 6'4", fighting guys on the fourth line, right? Like it's a little different element that you got to look at the big picture here and see the difference between the two. And Howard could go down for a month and a half, play 20 minutes a night, and then come back up and be even a better player. It's very possible. So it doesn't all have to happen right away at once in the NHL for him, but good for him to score last night. What did you see, Spec, from, did anything give you hope to think the offense is starting to come around?
I don't know. I didn't see a whole lot difference last night between what I saw on the rest of the road trip. Did you see anything that made you think they were a better offensive team last night than they were?
Well,
in
their power
Detroit
plays
or
were
on Long Island?
twice, so that'd be the only thing. But you're right. Like they had 12 shots at one point through the first 40 minutes. It was not through the first 40 minutes. Yeah, they had 12 shots. Like that's just, and they were leading 2-0. So that's good that you're leading, and that it's great that you scored, but. Again, you weren't generating a lot of sustained momentum building shifts.
No. And see, I think you describe how the top players, how it bleeds down. Like the pressure that the McDavid line, like let's say they're on separate lines. McDavid's line has a shift and puts offensive pressure on the other team, and then Draisaitl's line come out and it puts pressure on. And that pressure builds, and every line comes over the boards, and it does become a cyclical thing. And all of a sudden, the pucks, you're defending for such a long time. Eventually, you break in, somebody somewhere scores. But with the top lines really not, I know McDavid leads the league in offensive zone possession, but I'm not seeing, they possess the puck, but they're not putting any overt amount of pressure on the other team. I'm not seeing goalies having to make a bunch of great saves against the Oilers. So, it does start and end with the big boys. The big guys got to get going here, and they have to start. They drive the ship, and right now the ship doesn't have much of a rudder because, let's face it, in my books, Jason, tell me if I'm wrong here, the big boys are McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard, and right now none of them are doing very much.
No. Well, Bouchard got his first point on McDavid's first goal of the season, so maybe it gets him going. But you're right. It's going to be a slow process, I think, for the offense to get moving. When you win, everything is always a little bit better. There's no question. Getting Walman back, I think, helped in a lot of facets, right? And if I noticed, like they didn't overplay him a ton of minutes last night. He played just under 19, and that includes overtime. So, first game back, you're not going to go crazy with him at all. But he definitely helps moving the puck. There's no question. He'll block shots. I think he had 4 blocks last night for the team. So he's definitely an upgrade. No offense to Troy Stetcher, but he's an upgrade for the team. So that makes him a little bit better. Yep, I look at the, the combinations of other guys, like, and guys brought it up earlier, Spec. And so I want to ask you, Roslovic, what have you seen through 5 games from him?
Nothing.
No.
That's it. Almost nothing. Now, he didn't have a camp. He's a step behind everybody. So I can live with that. I live with him. He's spending some time trying to catch up. His goal seems to, he's not killing plays, but he's really not furthering them either. So, you know what? It's hard to miss all account. It's harder than you think. So I give him a long rope, but if you're asking me what I've seen from him in his first 5 games, I'm here to tell you, not much.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. He skates well. That's the one thing I've noticed. Like, he's a really good skater. That's sure. What stood out to me. But to me, the Oilers have a lot of forwards that are very similar, right? They're different name bars, but they're very similar. Like, are the Oilers a quicker team than last year? Sure. They're a quicker team than last year. What's that got them? Like, everybody's so focused on speed all the time. And that's great if you skate on the outside, but how many guys go to the net on this team with a regular occurrence, right? How many guys are physical on this team? Not a lot. So now I know when Hyman comes back, that solves 2 of those questions. He goes to the net. He's physical. It's a big addition. No debate in my mind. But when I look at the construction currently of this team, and even when the big boys get going, I don't think that's going to change how the other player. I don't think if McDavid and Draisaitl start scoring, that suddenly the other guys start hitting. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see that correlation. So to me, that's something that Stan Bowman's going to have to look at. I think they're going to need to add another dimension to this forward group. Zach Hyman will definitely fill a lot of it, but even when Hyman returns, I think they're going to need another, skilled physical forward.
Well, listen, Roslovic's career, like, the guy's been around a long time now. We know what he is, even when he's playing well. He's fast, and he's always been a soft player. He doesn't hit you. He doesn't make you grittier, and everybody knows that. I don't blame Roslovic for this. This is the player he's always been. The Oilers brought him in knowing what he is. So don't anyone look down at 28 and say he's going to make us grittier, tougher, harder to play against. He's not that guy. He's never been that guy. So that's unfair to the player to ask him to become a new player.
I agree.
I would say to you, Trent Frederick could be a lot harder to play against.
Sure.
I'd say to you that there's a guy who needs to, if there's a deficit of grit and physicality and toughness and hard to play against on this roster, and I think we'd all agree there is a bit of a deficit right now. Corey Perry, missing him a whole bunch, I'd say. Maybe Trent Frederick needs to take a look at that and say, you know what? I can bring my share and maybe another share yet. Like, maybe I can, I got to start to bring that out of my game because I can play that way. Frederick can be tough and gritty and hard and hit you. And if he has to fight you, I'm not seeing a semblance of that. He's playing a very meek game right now, and that's not what he's getting paid to do. They got lots of guys who can skate around and not hit anybody on this team. Frederick's not supposed to be one of them.
Yeah, I said earlier, could Frederick play more physical? 100%. Is Frederick the reason they're only scoring 2.5 goals a game? No.
Yeah.
So,
scoring's not his department. Like, take care of what you're good at.
Yeah,
he's not. McDavid and Draisaitl aren't taking care right now of what they're good at. Frederick's not taking care of what he's good at either. If everybody does their job, you probably have a better team.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I think, but I just look, even with Frederick, it's one guy. I don't think I can look and say, okay, the Oilers going to be a physical team because of one guy. When he's in there, I still think they need another player come playoff time who brings it. Because I remember Strud saying, man, when you're a freedom fighter and the only fighter on your team, that was hard to do. If you're the only guy who's physical, it's really hard to be physical because sometimes you just get more into the game when you need other guys who can drag you into the fight on different days. And the Oilers, it doesn't have to happen right away, but before the trade deadline, I think it's something that they need to address for their team. They've got a lot of fast players who aren't overly physical and right now not scoring a lot of goals. So that's not a good combination.
Yeah, you got that right, brother.
Spec, now the Montreal Canadiens come to town tomorrow night. They're in Calgary tonight. And I'll say this about the Habs. I thought at the start of the year, they'd be one of the top 5 entertaining teams to watch. They'll score you a lot and they'll give up some chances a lot. And they've done so. It's going to be an exciting game to watch tomorrow night when the Habs come to town.
Oh, they're 5-2 and they've scored 25 goals. How many goals the Oilers scored here? I'm just looking it up.
18.
So you know what they are? They've built an exciting, a team that skates. They got a couple of tougher players that'll mix it up. Right now they're getting goaltending. I think they think they're going to have goaltending with Montembeault. Listen, it's been a long time coming in Montreal. I want to say that too. Like they should be getting good at some point, Jay, right? Yeah. Rebuild's been going on a long time, but I'm happy to see, I'm an old school guy. That uniform, it still does it for me, man. When I see the Montreal Canadiens come to town, it just get a little help in my step, man. And to see them, hockey's a better place when the Habs are good. And not only are they good, with Suzuki and Demidov and Caulfield and the guys they got a nice back end. They're exciting. They're not just good, but they're fun to watch. They play the proper brand of hockey in my books. They skate and score and play. So good for Montreal. They're going to be a fun team to watch. Hopefully the Oilers can bring it a little bit here. But I'm all for it. They play the game the right way. I hope they succeed.
Would you change anything in the lineup for tomorrow night?
I don't see why. I guess I'm going to ask you. I'm not changing my goaltending. Skinner's been fantastic. I love Skinner's game right now. He's letting in 2 a night. That's enough. Your defense, you just got Walman back. Your defense is keeping pucks out of your net, so I'm not messing with my defense. And really the only changes I need at forward, Jason, aren't guys that are coming out of the lineup. It's the guys in the lineup have to find their game.
Yeah.
We're not taking out, I'm not taking Frederick out. I'm not taking Draisaitl McDavid out. I'm not taking any of those guys out. You can nibble around the edges if you want to put a 4th line guy in or a 4th line guy. I don't really care that much.
The only option really would be Lazar, and I'm not sold.
Whatever. When your issue is scoring, it's really not about Lazar at this point. So no, I wouldn't change my lineup. I'm hoping that clapper that Walman fired home off a rolling puck that he somehow got to go about 98 miles an hour and on net, which is freaking amazing. I'm hoping that little piece of happenstance kickstarts my team. Maybe that's the break I need here. They're in a tough stretch of hockey right now. 7 out of 8 games, 8 games in a row in 8 different cities, going from the Eastern time zone out to Pacific this weekend. So I'm not messing with my lineup. I'm hoping that maybe that Ottawa game is going to start something for us here, that for the Oilers that, we've been waiting to happen. If I'm the Oilers, been waiting for a break. I think they got a break in Ottawa.
Spec, we will chat with you tomorrow. Have a good one.
All right, Jay.
There you go. That's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. We'll return. We got Cam Tate. Also, lots of texts flying in. People are fired up. I love it. And we're also going to talk a little NFL as well. CFL Player Awards came out today for the Edmonton Elks. We'll get to that and more on the Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, presented by playalberta.ca.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Monopoly Double Play is back at McDonald's. So let's practice winning. You just won 25 grand and go.
Yes!
I said 25 grand.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah!
Much better. Okay, now you just won a brand new Chevrolet Corvette. I think she just fainted. Impressive. Feel like a winner on pack and in-app. Monopoly Double Play is back. While supplies last, 1 in 5 chances to win game piece prizes at outset. Chances to win draw prizes depend on number of entries in each draw. Cash prizes payable by e-transfer. See rules in-app.
The madness continues at the Brick. Get your home ready to host. Save up to $1,200 on Made in Canada sofas and sectionals, up to 30% off coffee tables and nightstands, and up to 25% off bedroom and dining. Buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off appliances. Hockey season is here, and so are big savings on big screen TVs. Save up to $800, plus get free local delivery on screens over 50 inches. The Brick, saving you more.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports is Sports 1440.
From Low Tide to Kevin Carriott and Jason Gregor, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
To Sports 1440.
Fall into savings at Wolf GMC Buick. For a very limited time, get 0% on every 2025 Buick and GMC, including the all-new Buick Envista, the Encore, Envision, and Enclave. For the GMCs, 0% on 2025s like the Sierra Half-Ton, Sierra HD, even the Yukons. Get 0% on all 2025s. Plus, get up to 84 months on the GMC Sierra Half-Ton Crew Cab. But like the Leaves, these deals won't last long. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Carve out for a cause at the Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, presented by GS Construction. Thursday, November 6th at the Canadian Ice House, indulge in unlimited pizza from amazing local pizzerias while you help raise some dough for Kids Sport. Then vote for your favorite slice to help crown the People's Choice Award winners. Tickets to join Edmonton's biggest and best adult pizza party are just $30. Head to jasongregorpizzapigout.com for more details and to buy tickets.
Backed by popular demand, Folsom Prison Revisited. The story of one of the greatest concerts in history returns to the Jubilee Auditorium November 22nd. Step back in time before, during, and after this iconic Johnny Cash performance. You'll relive an event that changed the life of Johnny Cash and changed music forever. Tickets at Ticketmaster.ca and the Jubilee box office. Brought to you by Stars and Stories Live.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money. Support Canada at Cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.31. Also, the association tipped off last night. So the sports world just continues to get busier and busier. Love it. It's fantastic. Man, I can't. I love sports. So the more sports you get to watch, to me, it's better all the time. Did you see that OKC Rockets game went to double OT before they win? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander starts with another 35-point night for him. Also, the Warriors getting by the Lakers. The Warriors probably nearing like I don't know how many more years they got to be a top team, but they got to with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. I think they still got the main pieces to compete. They don't have as like 1 to 5. They're not. Well, I don't think any team 1 to 5 is as good as OKC if they stay healthy, which is why they're still my favorite to win. But the Rockets with Durant, I'm kind of curious to see. And I don't know, Cons, did you see Sengun's game last night for the Rockets? He had 39 points. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know what his career high was prior to this, but I don't know if it's close to that, but that was unreal. Like that was a pretty special performance by him. Like I don't know if that's going to be the norm. I'll be honest, I don't know that much about him, but that was quite the performance last night.
Yeah, certainly helps going into overtime when you can do that one. But no, I'm not exactly familiar with what his career high in points is either. And just with Jimmy Butler, getting to the line, was it 16 times, 12 times?
Mm-hmm.
Free throw merchant, I think. I say that as a joke to Declan, but when he goes 100% from the free throw line, it's going to go a long way. And yeah, the Warriors, fun to watch despite a good game from Luka.
Yeah, no, and then getting going tonight, the Raptors are back in action tonight, and we'll see how their season goes. They're taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Not sure there's that high of expectations realistically for the Raptors. There probably shouldn't be. I think they're probably like at best number 7 seed, and well, at worst, obviously they could be in the Bay. Oh, I don't think they're gonna be that bad. I think they're somewhere probably between like 7 and 11. That's kind of where I see them at. I'd probably even say 8 to 11 realistically. So we'll see. We got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, get back to basics. Could have won 2-0 last night. The first goal was avoidable with a simple clear out. The top guys will get their chance when they play a simple game that doesn't lead to turnovers, head in the other direction. Shoot the puck. Well, they haven't had a lot of turnovers at A-Train. And you're on a shorthand. If you go back and watch that, so Bouchard puts it off the boards. Nugent Hopkins goes and deflects it up, and then it hits the Ottawa guy in the chest and stays in the zone. Like, that to me is not an egregious giveaway. Like, the game's fast. That's not an egregious one. I actually had more. I didn't love the fact that you allowed 2 Senators right behind you in front of the net. Now, I know that some teams now like to front the shooter, and that's a little bit, you can't have 2 guys standing right in front of your goalie untouched. Like, I'm sorry. There's no way that that's a system that you're talking about. So to me, that I had more issue with that than anything else. I'm like, you can't just have 2 guys, and what's your goalie supposed to do at that point? Trying around and see a double screen also illustrates Oiler forwards. Look what happens when there's someone in front of the net. Just a thought. Just a thought. It's now I know the Oilers don't have a lot of guys who do it naturally. Okay, but you can improve it. I'm not expecting them to suddenly become Ryan Smith overnight, right? Or even Zach Hyman. That's not going to happen. But you can still get better at it. You can, and the only way to get better at it, it's got to be something. To me, that comes 100% from your coaching staff to say, okay, guys, this is a new bar. This is something that we're looking to have. Okay, we're struggling to score goals right now. It's been 2 weeks. This isn't a 1 game. It's 2 weeks where the Oilers are 26th in the NHL in offense. 26th. Like, that's decade of darkness bad offensively. And they're not a bad team. Right? Look at their goals against. Really good. No problem. But to me, they got to get, it's got to be more of a concerted effort. And it's got to be something that's a little bit more demanding from the coach. Say, hey, we need to see this more. I'm not saying you just do that all the time and shoot from every angle. So don't text in with something like that. Understand that going to the net can become habitual. It has to become more habitual for more players on the team. And I don't think that's an outrageous ask to have at all. And size doesn't matter. I see lots of guys who go to the net who aren't overly big and have success around there. That's just a willingness more than a size factor. Now, if you get engaged in battles, sure, size can become a factor, but getting there shouldn't be an issue. Let's get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. they're hiring. Want to work for an awesome company where you get a hiring bonus? You will also get RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement, and more. Go today at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town, of course, with cerebral palsy, in a wheelchair. And Cam always wanted to be in radio. Technology never allowed it until now. It's Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
If you've been lending your ear to this curious radio experiment, you'll remember we've tiptoed gently, as Loatide says, don't wake the baby, ever so politely around the Edmonton Oil Kings' third-period tendencies. Not a word of condemnation, no shaking fists or flying clipboards. But today, if we were to slip a hockey glove into the thesaurus, Gregor, you got one over there? And rummage about for a word that captures the unease curling beneath our optimism over the Oil Kings' final frame performances, we'd land squarely on concern. But not last night. No. Good heavens, no. The Oil Kings played host to their former ringleader Brod Laurie and his marauding Spokane Chiefs. As that hallowed third period descended, like a haunted velvet curtain in a creaking old theater, Edmonton trailed by a deuce. The crowd's breath frosted with apprehension. The ghosts of squandered leads hovered above the blue line. But guess what over there, Connor Halley? Those young monarchs rose, regal and roaring. Oil Kings defensive dude Blake Fiddler, the young man with a slapshot that could loosen the screws on the Zamboni gate, unleashed an absolute thunderbolt from the point midway through the third, slicing Spokane's lead in half and injecting a jolt of prairie electricity into Rogers Place. And then, with exactly 1 minute and 41 seconds left, Andrew O'Neill, helmet, hustle, and a hint of chaos, found himself in the right spot. Rumor, and we use that term deliberately, suggests it went in off his head. Yes, indeed. Off his head. Overtime followed, then a shootout. No win, but a salvaged point, and some badly needed third period spark. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Halley, Kruger, is he awake? Tate Sports 1440.
Quite the voice that Tate had today. Deeper, thicker. Might have to use it more often. We'll see, Collins.
That's catching strays from Tater, eh?
Oh yeah, hey,
Coffee. You awake over there?
Yeah. Tater likes to get everybody. You got to be on your toes on the Tate, man. No problem with that. I like it. The Oil Kings, by the way, first place in the Eastern Conference, 9-3-1. After that loss, they've outscored teams 51-33 thus far. The Blades are 1 point back, and they have a game in hand. What about the Raiders? The Raiders are very good. They're 7-0-2. It's kind of an odd schedule. The Raiders have played 9 games. The Oil Kings have played 13. The Oil Kings and they played a lot on the road. Like the Oil Kings haven't been home very much. So their schedule here is due to slow down a bit, but they've gotten off to a very good start. Which is kind of to be expected. I thought the Oil Kings, Oil Kings are going to be a good team this year. There's no question about it. PA looks really good. They've had a pretty good start to the season. There's no debate on that. It's been pretty impressive. And the Oil Kings, of course, they'll be at home on Saturday night and Sunday afternoon against the Hitmen. So getting a little stretch of home games coming up for them. I think it's 5 of their next 6 are on home ice after having a lot of road games. So it'll be an opportunity for Oil Kings fans to see a pretty good Western Hockey League team this season. The Edmonton Oil Kings, who are back-to-back the most attendance in the WHL for the last 2 years. So I think with a team that's even more competitive, probably see those numbers go up a little bit. We'll come back and we'll talk more Oilers, but also we're going to talk about hitting a critical time and the Elks Player Awards. No major surprises, maybe one, I think, for the Elks. We'll discuss that too on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton Elks Spectacular is back, presented by Goodwill. October 24th versus the Calgary Stampeders, featuring pumpkin carving contest and more. Plus, we're collecting donations supporting Edmonton Women's Shelter Win House. Tickets at goelks.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace replacement company for zombie hunters. Those who know their old decrepit furnace passed away years ago. Its decaying husk shuffling around now as the furnace. Legacy Heating will send your undead furnace to its grave, replacing it with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Protect your legacy from the beast in the basement. It's time to destroy the furnace of the dead. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
When pumpkins glow and night turns chill, there's one fall treat that fits the bill. A pizza shaped like a jack-o'-lantern with smiling pepperoni pattern. Thin golden crust, so cheesy and tasty. Get yours now, better be hasty. It's only around for a limited time for a spooktacular price, $17.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, yes, it's true. Papa John's Jack-o'-lantern Pizza is coming for you. Spookily and proudly locally owned and operated.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris-Schweiner. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree.
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
It might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhawk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win friends with salad.
At the Nissan All-In Clearout, there's nothing more chill than financing an award-winning Nissan for just 0%. Enjoy the soothing relaxation of zero stress, zero worries, zero indecision. During the Nissan All-In Clearout, get 0% financing plus up to $500 bonus on some of our best-selling models. You have zero reasons to wait. Conditions apply. See your local Nissan dealer today.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Stradley. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from Los Angeles and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters, you can attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Fernando Pisani, Kelly Buckberger, Ron Lowe, Gene Principe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more. There's still time to get in on every hockey fan's dream cruise. Book now and save $500 per couple. The Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. Price start at just $23.99. Part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Call 1-833-347-7678. Call now to book and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It is the final countdown. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Feel free to hit the subscribe button for us on YouTube. We'd very much appreciate it. As we talked about it, the Elks Player Awards were announced today, and no surprise that Justin Rankin is their nominee for most outstanding player. That was a unanimous choice. Like there wasn't even anybody to consider. Like to me, it was his head and shoulders. He was the nominee. Defensive player is Cordell Jackson. The top Canadian is Joel DeBlanco. Javon Leake was special team player of the year. Chellan Garnes is their rookie, and David Beard, the offensive lineman of the year. Cons, do you have or nominee, I should say, for the green and gold? Do you have any surprises, any issues with any of those 6 winners?
No, not really. I kind of thought that Jackson was the unanimous selection there for me. You didn't really have too many standout guys. Usually if you get a guy with, let's say, north of 7 or 8 sacks, maybe you can make an argument for it, but the Elks sack leaders had 4. So, no, I like that pick, Rankin. I wish the team would have made the playoffs, because then I think we had a fun debate.
Yes.
Could he be MOP? Because he was so darn good, especially, kind of down the stretch here for this team. I know you and Declan were talking about it, a little maybe controversy with the offensive lineman. I can get that one, but other than that, I mean, it seems like it's kind of cut and dry here. Javon Leake, obviously, with what he was able to do in the return game, is going to be your special teamer. DeBlanco for sure as well. I think that's kind of an easier one. And rookie, maybe you could have a little bit of an argument there. Declan right now. Declan, I want to just bring you on here. He's got a concern with the rookie.
Well, I was just going to say, I thought it should have been J.J. Ross. You look at the numbers, Chellan Garnes, a little more versatile, can play the Sam, can play safety, can play D-half. 54 tackles, 1 pick, I think it was, no forced fumbles. J.J. Ross, in less games, 49 tackles, 3 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and a guy who I thought really blossomed, played his role well, and was a true lockdown corner for that team. He would have been my rookie of the year.
Yeah, that's a fair choice. That is definitely a fair choice. If you look across the league, all the award winners announced today. For MOP, Nathan Rourke, Rankin, Dedrick Mills in Calgary, Trevor Harris, Brady Oliveira in Winnipeg in the East, Bo Levi Mitchell, Nick Arbuckle, Pimpleton, and Davis Alexander. Like, it's probably Nathan Rourke's award to lose, I would think. Most outstanding Canadian, it's not even close. Nathan Rourke, I think, is going to win that one rather easily. The most outstanding defensive player, Betts, Jackson, Clarence Hicks, Jameer Thurman, Evan Holm, and then Houseware, Cameron Judge in Toronto had a really good year. Jovan Santos Knox, former Elk, actually, and then Ademi Berglund. That's pretty wide open, honestly. I don't know if Betts in BC is probably going to get some votes. Con man, is there anybody for you stands out?
Oh, well, I mean, for Betts, like you're talking best Canadian, it's just like how many situations are there when a quarterback on the team that you're playing for is that Canadian?
Yeah.
And, Nathan Rourke, obviously, for what he did, I think I'm with you. I think that's kind of a lock. I like Matthew Betts, man. And you know what? I was hard on him when he was with the Edmonton Elks. Like, I kind of jokingly called him the water boy. Like, he just at times didn't look like he was going to be someone who could get after the quarterback. He's wearing number 9, too, which didn't help him. But since he's gone to BC, he's been outstanding, leading the league in sacks with 14. To me, Betts would be my pick there.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. The special teams player of the year, it's might go to a kicker, I would think. Outstanding rookie, Robert Carter Jr. Man, maybe one of the greatest catches I've ever seen is for an interception. So that play alone might win him the award.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But Winnipeg's Trey Vavel. He is Trey Vavel. Actually, he would be my vote for the special teams player of the year, not a kicker. But Trey Vavel is a highly entertaining player to watch. So
Isaiah Woods in less games, same amount of touchdown returns, and more average. So he didn't do it as much. But
who was that?
Isaiah Woodson for Hamilton.
Yeah, but he wasn't even their nominee.
Yeah, but I mean, just like pretty good numbers for him.
Yeah, well, I was kind of surprised actually that he wasn't their nominee.
Yeah, I mean, two kickoff returns, and then the 1 punt touchdown, and the yards per average per each higher than Vavel. So, yeah, interesting for the Hamilton Ticats going that route, but he had a good season.
Yeah, and now I know that I think Legio had the highest field goal percentage in the CFL, so that's probably why he got the vote. But Hamilton definitely had a few pretty good players in that award. So I don't know. I don't think any Elks going to make it to represent the West the best one, who I think probably the best chance would be Cordell Jackson, but I think Betts with his touchdown. Like when you don't make the playoffs, it's pretty hard. So I don't think there'll be a double E nominee for the league. Speaking of the NFL cons, what is your we're getting close games, I know tomorrow, but what's your game of the week to watch and why?
I don't know if you've seen any of the spreads, but like 95% of them are 7.5, 6.5. So a lot of these games aren't going to be too close, the odds makers say. I think that, when you're looking at games that could be interesting, Texans and Niners, just because of the injuries and the Texans struggles, could be competitive. Steelers, Packers, anytime Aaron Rodgers takes on his former team, even though it's not in Green Bay, I think there's a little bit of a storyline, even if he says there is no animosity between the two sides. And really, Chargers, Vikings. I was
going to say Dallas, Denver is definitely a game to watch.
Could be some points put up in that one, yeah.
Chargers and Minnesota might be the more competitive on the score, for sure. Washington without their quarterback, I'm not loving their chances.
Zero chance.
Yeah, I wasn't loving their chances before, but I definitely don't like it now. What about the Houston? To me, is still being an underachieving team. Like they still might be able to surprise some people.
I just think they're bad. I don't think they're a good football team right now. And it's all because of the offense. That's where the problem lies. Like, I think you look at that defense, they did score a touchdown in the Monday Nighter. Will Anderson, they can rush the quarterback, they can cover, but offensively, they just can't seem to generate anything. And, you're relying on Nick Chubb to stay healthy in that case. And CJ Stroud, it's offensive line. It's probably play calling a little bit as well, but he's regressed since that terrific rookie year that he's had. So, I say it'll be maybe competitive because the Niners have so many injuries. It's in Houston, but I think the Niners got to find a way to get this one done.
The other news, the NLL announced that they're going to have a game here in Edmonton, the Swarm taking on Calgary in January. I know the announcement had a lot of people thinking, man, the NLL is coming back to Edmonton. It's kind of a teaser, but it is coming back, but not full time. But still, for lacrosse fans, it's something that's missed. I'd love to see a team here again. I tell you, for 10 years when I called the Rush games, I loved that game. It was so entertaining. Lacrosse was awesome from just a pure entertainment standpoint to watch. The game was great. And I'd love to see the league back in Edmonton full time. But you'll get at least one game in January, which, I think it'll be well attended. There's a good lacrosse community here for sure. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a lovely Wednesday. Tomorrow we got the Oilers Habs. We got NFL. We'll find out who's the starter. What's the rotation's going to be for the World Series? Should find that out have yourself a great day. Let's get to the Con Man in a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Buy a new vehicle and help feed families. In October, for every truck sold, Northgate will feed a family of 4. See all their vehicles at northgategm.com. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Vegas Golden Knights goaltender Aiden Hill will not travel the team on their upcoming 3-game road trip. He's considered week to week with a lower body injury, according to head coach Bruce Cassidy. He suffered the injury in Monday's 4-1 win over the Carolina Hurricanes. On the ice right now, Devils lead the Wild 1-0 after 20 minutes. Midway through the first, Sabres and Red Wings scoreless. And later tonight, you got the Canadiens and the Flames meeting in Calgary. That one starting at 6:30 in the association. Right now, the Toronto Raptors are in action, kicking off their season in Atlanta. In the first quarter, wraps up 16-12 elsewhere. Knicks have a 44-33 lead over the Cavaliers in the second. Hornets up on the Nets 44-42, and Sixers and Celtics tied at 20 apiece. In the first, later tonight, Bulls host the Pistons, Pelicans, and Memphis. You got the Bucks, Wizards, Jazz, Clippers, Kings taking on the Suns, Mavs host the Spurs, and the Timberwolves taking on the Trailblazers. Earlier today in the AJ, Bobcats getting past the Kodiaks by a score of 7-5. And from the NFL, Commanders will be without quarterback Jaden Daniels when they take on the Chiefs. Marcus Mariota gets the start. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius here on Sports 1440 and our YouTube channel, Sports 1440 AM. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.